It is Wednesday night, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Can only mean one team. It's time for the NFL Pick Six Show, week number 15. Week 15, no more buys. Buys are a thing of the past. We got a big boy slate. We're talking about the main slate here on the Pick Six Show. As always, John Daigle from ETR, Established the Run. You got Rich Hribar from Sharp Football Analysis. TJ behind the proverbial glass, producing the show. Be jumping on later, as well as Rob Coakley to talk about this week's movie, Troll 2, which we're very, very excited to talk about. I think we are. I'm not sure. It might get feisty. We'll see. Troll 2 will be the movie for this week. We'll be talking about that in probably like an hour and a half. Lots of football to discuss. 13-gamer. Big boy slate as far as the main slate. And shout out to the NFL. They spliced it up nicely. 8 early, 5 late. I like that breakdown. Yeah. Rich, I know we're writing more these days too with no buys. This is the dog days. Best ball right around the corner. You're going to get a lot of best ball tweets. This is the week that matters. This is the week one of the playoffs for best ball, but lots still going on in the NFL. Some of the best teams are kind of sort of out of it. A lot of bad quarterbacks might be making the playoffs. And Phillip Rivers is back in our lives. Grandpa Phillip Rivers. The Colts are desperate. How are things, Rich? Happy Wednesday.
It's good. We're here in crunch time, fantasy playoff season. Everyone was, tweeting their advancements. The FFPC mains are all kicking off for the gorillas and the mains. It's an exciting time here for everyone for fantasy football. And like you said, we've got a huge slate. You can feel the difference on the main slate, even when you just like run the initial sims. Like having those 3 extra games compared to what we had, like, is just such a massive difference.
It's also because there's so many good and expensive players. Like, I know the football has been bad, but the players we want to spend up for, they're pretty much all here on this main slate.
There's a few stinkers for sure, but I think we have 3 totals above 50. We'll be talking about those possibly as far as our 3 main games. Kind of a tough choice for you this week, Daigle, as far as the 3 main games. Sometimes it's just like, how do you even find 3 games you want to talk about? I think you probably had a couple on reserve. I imagine you had several options you were bouncing back and forth. But, yeah, we're going to run it down our 3 main games as far as the main slate. Rich, I'm always fascinated by this, and I hate to bring it up. It's probably annoying. But you famously, at least famously in my head, you don't look at how your best ball teams are doing. Do you now know at least your advancement percentage, or do you not even know that?
No. Well, I did it. I only did I think I only did 10 best ball manias this year and did more DraftKings this year. The only ones I know are the ones we did on the streams with Ray.
Okay.
So I know we did 8 because we had like a partnership with DraftKings. We did 8 on the stream and 3 of them advanced. That's all I know.
Shout out to you. That's pretty good. There you go. That's impressive. Daigle, do you dabble, I assume, in the best ball streets? And how any thoughts? Is anything worth mentioning?
Didn't participate on Underdog much as I attacked DraftKings more. I did slip at least one 5-5-5 through on DK. It has Dak double stacks, Trey McBride, and Harold Fannin. So that's a lot of fun. I need some help from my RB2s because the theory on DraftKings was to literally just wait and tack them on since it was 20 rounds and people were drafting them far too high for a full PPR site. So Jalen Wright and Tyler Shuck actually helped me last week. So at least my little darts helped me towards the end of the year. And then a couple of 3 max bullets that went through that need some help as well.
All right, let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about the main slate. Again, 13 games, 8 early, 5 late. First one we're talking about here, Daigle, I'll let you start it off. It's Baltimore at Cincinnati. Cincinnati getting 2.5 at home. The second biggest total collectively on the board, 52.5. We got the Bengals at home versus Baltimore. Get us started, Daigle. Where do you want to start?
Fun division game that we just saw 2 weeks ago. So from a chess match standpoint, it'll at least be interesting to see if either team altered their approach. More importantly, Baltimore, since the Bengals, no matter what they do, really can't alter anything on defense. They'll just keep giving it up regardless. I don't know if I'll personally get involved in this game in totality. Like last week, I know Dean, at the end of the day, all because of the weather, and due to the weather, ownership started sinking dramatically. You and I then both got involved heavily in the Bills-Bengals game that I was actually off of entirely until Saturday night. And I just saw everyone worried about the snow. And I said, okay, Rich gave us the stat last week about Joey Bosa, who was ruled out. and the Bengals having some hope there in the passing attack, and Josh Allen at home. So let's just get a little dirty here and just stack up 6 or 7 players from this game since everyone's so scared. I don't know if I'm going to get to that point with this one, just because, again, we always worry about division games, more importantly, important ones, but also just the fact of how stout the Ravens defense has played. We're also coming at this game without knowing T. Higgins' status. His second concussion of the season, came back very woozy, still made a couple drops, but also big catches. And so I guess I'll talk about it from the stance of, since it's obvious what to do if you have Chase and T out there, but from the stance of if T were out, I do think it's interesting in a slate with a lot of expensive players that, one, you can play Jamar Chase, especially since if you just look at the raw ways that the Ravens have been destroyed by wide receiver one of late, not just a couple weeks ago on Thanksgiving with Chase going for 7 and 110, but also last week for DK Metcalf having his best game of the season. But then also with T. Higgins off the field this year, we do have not only Chase being targeted on 30% of his routes, a 33% target share, but also with Joe Burrow, I should say, it's Mason Tinsley as a cheap little add-on who's also been targeted on 30% of his routes from Burrow without T. Higgins on the field. Tinsley would help unlock a lot more since he's just dirt cheap, stone minimum on both sides. And I do think I have actually more faith in him as a wide receiver 2 in this game and just a cheapy add-on if you want to get involved here than Andre Yoshivas, who with Higgins off the field has only been targeted on 5% of his routes. So that's where I start if you want to play it at this game. I am worried that it could be a little bit lower scoring, or at least it could be concentrated to Derrick Henry and Jamar Chase. And I think that's why I'm personally just off of playing it as a whole.
Tinsley 4-3 on FanDuel, 3-1 on DK can certainly be useful. And I think we're leaning right now, projection-wise, that T's going to be out. I think that makes the most sense.
I agree. He was limited today, but I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that seems the most likely scenario. Probably shouldn't have come back in last game. I don't know how that happens, but whatever. I think he came back in and scored a touchdown. He dropped a pass or two. You mentioned weather, by the way. I did see Roth does have the Wednesday night weather, so grain of salt. But there's a bunch of games that are yellow. But as of right now, nothing to be terribly concerned with. And you talked about how, the numbers for Allen, how much Rich liked him last week. We also saw Vegas. The Vegas line went up to 53.5. If you notice, it was 52.5, and it actually went up. Vegas was not scared. And there was no wind as well in that snow game. So at the end of the day, it was just wait, Vegas is telling us to be even more excited about this game. So both of us did like that Buffalo game last week, and it did pay off handsomely.
Also, speaking of wind, do not ask me to go outside and throw a football in Chicago Sunday morning. With negative 20 wind chill, I will 100% not be stepping outside.
Is that the anticipation for Chicago?
Yeah. It's going to be -6 for real and -6, 20 below wind chill.
Oh, well,
against the Browns.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you going? Are you going to the game?
No, I'm going to stay in. I have soccer Sunday morning, and we're just going to stay at the bar at the pitch and watch it all together.
So you'll go out and play soccer in -10, whatever.
It's an indoor stadium. I'm not playing outdoors in the winter.
Okay, I didn't know.
Not that I'm opposed to it.
Rich, if the game was in your backyard, you can just walk in the games you can play in your backyard, but you go outside and watch the game in -10 degrees, wind chill, whatever it is. Are we going to get bundled up and watching it, or we're going to be in the couch?
Yeah, I'm not going to watch Browns Bears. Absolutely not. Definitely not going to do that. I'll barely watch it. I'll watch that one, from the couch for sure.
We'll talk about one player from that game on this entire show. That's it.
Rich, where do you want to start with Baltimore? If you want to clean up Cincinnati, by all means, and then jump over to the Ravens, that'd be great.
Well, just from a top-down stance, if you're just chasing stuff from the box score from Thanksgiving, you have to keep in mind some context stuff from that game that's probably not going to roll over here. The Bengals ran 80 offensive plays on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. That was a season high. A lot of weird things happened in that game. Obviously, they had the 4 turnovers. Really, kind of only one of them was a normal turnover. There was a lot of weird ones. We had the tuck rule came into play. We had Isaiah Likely fumbling out of the end zone. So the Bengals had a lot of short drives. They didn't cash a lot of them in. They got in the first half, they kept getting stonewalled inside the 10 and kicking field goals. But I would expect them to have normal play volume here in this game. And then you got to bring back the splits with and without T. Higgins. So, Burrow has definitely run a lot hotter with T. Higgins, which makes sense, right? Because you have a guy like T. Higgins that's able to soak up vertical coverage, or when people want to, attack Chase and bracket coverage him, you just go over the top and win one-on-ones like they did on Sunday. Also, egregious. Like the one-handed touchdown, like they didn't even throw a flag on that play. It was like the most pass interference like ever. Like anytime you see a receiver try to catch a ball with one hand, there's usually a reason for it. It's like he usually can't pick his other hand up, but they didn't even throw a flag on that. So that guy might have been concussed too, the official, but that's par for the course this year, I think, with NFL officiating, just kind of as it goes. But yeah, so I just top down, I would say take those things into account, especially like when you're looking at like Chase Brown having 22 touches in that original game, and then looking at his actual backfield split, like he got to those touches because they ran 80 offensive plays. Some of the ancillary guys, like Daigle brought up Mitchell Tinsley, right? Like that 30% target share is a lot different if it's on 35 pass attempts, right? Or like 38. So just those are things just apply that we probably won't have that type of play volume on the Bengals side. And we also, too, that something else happened in that game, too. If you remember, Derrick Henry only had 10 carries in that game. And it was like a real weird circumstance. So, like, in the second quarter of that game, he ran the ball on 66% of the first downs in the first quarter. In the second quarter, the opening drive is when they have 3 passes, likely fumbles out of the end zone. So they were going to score. They don't. The Bengals eat like an 8-minute drive. The Ravens get the ball back with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. So he's not in the 2-minute drill, Derrick Henry. So he basically goes the whole quarter without a touch. They're asking John Harbaugh after the game, like, why didn't Derrick Henry get a touch? He's like, dude, like, did you watch the game? And everyone's like freaking out. It's like, but he only ends up with 10 touches because in the second half, like they stall out in some drives. That's not going to happen here. Like he's like the first guy. He's had 20 touches in 7 of his past 8 games. That's the one where he touched the ball. He had 10 rushes, 1 catch in that game. And when you look at that game, they still had 152 total yards as a backfield, 2 touchdowns in that game because Keaton Mitchell, Daigle's boy on Thanksgiving, scored. So we still can attack this Bengals defense through the run game. One of the things that happened in the snow game that wasn't kind of accounted for too, and like linemen have talked about this, is these games that are played in the snow, like the linemen struggle to get off of blocks, and it can hurt some of the run games. And everyone remembers LaShawn McCoy having snow tires and stuff. Oh, yeah. But that happened in that Bills-Bengals game. Like neither offensive line could actually block in that game. And those are like 2 run defenses we wanted to attack, right? The Bills and the Bengals. James Cook left some points on the field in that game. But yeah, neither run game kind of was like really hyper effective. Just Josh Allen rushing in that game. So Derrick Henry, I would expect in this game to definitely flirt with more 20 touches in more of an environment where it's more D-Hember type of output against the Bengals team that we can exploit. So I'm looking at Derrick Henry as being a guy that like bounce back here compared to the first box score.
That's why I mentioned isolating potentially Chase and Henry. Also because I don't know, you can tell me, I didn't see the practice report today, but Keaton Mitchell was also banged up, Justice Hill on IR. So it may just be Derrick Henry and Rasheen Ali, which means it's all Derrick Henry.
I see him limited as far as the practice in the NFL.
Yeah, Mitchell.
As of right now. Lamar also did not participate.
That's the usual.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, do we have a bigger sample now, Rich, as far as Lamar, where he still hasn't put up a game essentially all season long where you absolutely need it? He's put up some useful scores. And you could make the argument like he did, against Cincinnati. They took the touchdown away from Zay because Zay's not allowed to score, as we determined on this show. And the
likely touchdown,
likely dropping it at the
his interception that was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Like Mark Andrews was naked, like it was going to be an easy touchdown to Mark Andrews. He was wide open. That was like kind of a third touchdown. He kind of lost in the game, so to speak. But like you said, I still find it hard to see like him having like a score that like you have to have. I think he's gonna be better here. I thought last week he looked a lot better physically. In terms of mobility. Just the offense in general, though, is not as sharp as it was last year. And we expected this team to naturally regress, especially like his touchdown rate and stuff. Like we know it's going to come down and things work in mysterious ways. He's actually been pretty terrible in the red zone kind of all year. And that just kind of is the ebbs and flows of the NFL because he was lights out. Last year, literally 50% of his red zone passes were touchdowns. It was the highest rate ever, like in NFL history. This year he's at 25%, kind of it's 14th, just normal. But he has he's 12 of 32 in the red zone since returning in week 9, 37.5%. He's got a career low 42% completion rate in the red zone for the season. He's 17 of 40 in the red zone. And that was the story of last week's game. They just couldn't convert their red zone opportunities for touchdowns. They've been one of the worst red zone offenses in the NFL this year. And that's just kind of what has held them back this season. So I think he'll be better here because I thought he looked physically better. I think the offense will be better because they probably won't have as many fluky, turnovers and mistakes. But is he going to be a guy that puts up like a 30-35? I still think this is a Derrick Henry game. And so I think Lamar will be more efficient. I think he's probably going to be in like the 20s. And maybe Burrow, we get that push and it ends up just being like a shootout. But I see this as being like more of a Derrick Henry game.
According to playoffstatus.com, both these teams still fighting for a chance to make the playoffs. Bengals 2% chance. 2%.
Yeah, they're like 1 or 2. Yeah, they're cooked.
Round one. They gotta still believe, I suppose, in some capacity. The Ravens are at 13%. I assume they both have to win out and need some help. Daigle, how do you feel about Lamar? If you're stacking this game, are we starting with Burrow or are we starting with Lamar?
I would still take the chance on Lamar in this spot. And just because of salary, because it's cheaper options, you can play Lamar with Derrick Henry easily. And if that's the case, I think a lot of people would probably naturally get down to some combo of Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews just because of this Bengals defense against tight ends all year, allowing the most yards per game to tight ends. But recently, especially Hunter Henry, 115 yards and a touchdown. Baltimore's tight ends on Thanksgiving at 142 yards. And then Dawson Kincaid combined for 10 catches, 134 yards, and a touchdown last week. So if you want to spend down for a cheapie, play it through Lamar, Likely, Henry, even tack on Andrews, totally fine. You can maneuver some way around that. And I think that's how I would play it. Again, if only because I think the Ravens have the higher ceiling. Not sure if it's that touchdown ceiling since, again, Lamar's thrown 1 touchdown in his last 4 games. But also, I don't think anyone's going to play it through Lamar either because he's been bad.
I don't think I've heard the name Chase Brown. He sucked out last week getting 2 touchdowns, but the efficiency was not there at all. Anyone have a feeling as far as Chase Brown? Rich, Daigle, any thoughts for Chase Brown?
Personally, there are still like a lot of even not only expensive, but even mid-priced running backs that I can squint, and we'll talk about them at the end of the show, and see that they're going to get every single touch and projectably perhaps a good spot. Whereas Chase Brown, I struggle with this one just because since Samaje Perine returned on Thanksgiving with a high ankle sprain, he's still handled 40%, 32% of the team's backfield touches in that time. Chase Brown's target share now has increased because of Joe Burrow dumping it off. But last game, as you said, less than 2 yards per carry. He just happened to score 2 touchdowns, 1 being receiving. I don't think it's a situation where I personally want to chase.
Anything you want to add to that, Rich? Anything else as far as Baltimore, Cincinnati on the whole in this game in total?
Oh, Bengals have already allowed more receiving yards to the tight ends than any team has in a season since 2015.
Yeah.
There's a whole month of football to be played. They're closing in on the most touchdowns allowed to tight ends in a season. 17 in the 2000s is the most. They're at 15 right now. So that's probably going to come down as well. And it's just kind of a hodgepodge of guys, everyone, right? So like you've got Likely, you've got Andrews. Both guys maybe you can potentially get in the box. That we talk about it every week about the wide receivers and against the Bengals. And granted, you talk about Zay had 1 taken off the board, but wide receivers have scored 31% of the fantasy points allowed by the Bengals this year. The next closest, that's the lowest in the league. The next closest is at 40.9%. It's like a 9% difference. They've allowed 100-yard receiver this year. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had 100 on the dot. Wow. Back in week 5. DJ Turner is like their lone good defender now that Trey Hendrickson seemingly is not coming back this season. They've got 1 good guy on defense. It's DJ Turner.
I also think Mike Gesicki may be played if you get into this game, and I think he's a pretty flimsy projection personally. The Ravens, since they returned from their bye, which again, we know they were a fake team before the bye, they got fully healthy, they come back at full strength. Since that time, no tight end has scored double-digit fantasy points or reached 50 receiving yards against them. Gesicki last week, his role pretty much stayed the same, only a route on 47% of dropbacks. If T. Higgins doesn't play, maybe you can carry over that 16.5% target share. But that's why I noted the Ravens matchups against tight ends, because I think it's a pretty thin play based on how he could be owned.
And even on Thanksgiving, they play all 4 guys. They're playing 4 tight ends. It's not the same thing as T. Higgins out last year because Noah Fant's playing too, so it's not the same carryover. Even on Thanksgiving, he was under 50% of the dropbacks. He was on the field.
Yeah, last week you didn't really have to decide between Kincaid and Knox. They both got there, and I'm going to ask.
Jackson Hall's even got one too, man.
Yes. I'm going to ask, who are we going to pick amongst the two if you got to pick amongst
I'll
the
just
two?
play the cheaper guy. I'll just play likely. I don't give a shit.
What about Andrews just got paid? No narrative street for you? A little contract extension? Yeah, well. But I guess you're fine with either one, depending on how.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play Andrews, I don't push back on it. I just think if it's going to be kind of a touchdown dependent situation, regardless.
Yeah.
Again, just the slate that I should have mentioned this at the top. We got Puka here. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameer Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. The list goes on. So when we talk about Tinsley, Isaiah Likely, that's kind of what it comes down to. Derrick Henry. It's really just about how are we going to fit the best players possible, or even flip the builds if that's the case with some mid-tier wide receivers or mid-tier running backs to fight tournaments. And that's kind of how I'm looking at this slate as a whole. That's why I'll mention a few cheapies along the way just to see if we can spend up here.
And I don't know if Dean has done his usual thing, but I would imagine like not a lot of players from Lions, Rams are like popping and stuff right now because they're so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I did run some lineups. Gibbs in 22% of the lineups on DK. I'm looking at running backs as far as receivers.
Yeah, that tracks.
Puka at 27%. Amon-Ra at 6%. JMO at 2%. So to your point, yeah, they're kind of lost. And of course, that's the biggest total. We'll talk about that one. Spoiler alert. I believe that is game number 3. But I think we can scoot along to game 2, correct, boys?
Yeah, we did talk about just Jamar Chase would be. I think Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase is like the clean mini here.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense for sure. All right, game 2, Buffalo, New England, maybe the best like actual game for the week. Bills 9-4, the Patriots 11-2. If the Bills have any chance to win the division, I guess they would have to win this game. They are expected to make the playoffs. So basically, unless they completely collapse and things go against them, the Patriots are essentially locked into the playoffs as well. Pretty tight game as far as the spread. New England 1.5-point favorite here at home. 50.5 is the total. Daigle, are we going to get Superman Josh Allen this week? How are we seeing the Patriots? The Patriots versus the Bills.
I'll actually start with the Patriots side. They go on by because they are exciting. But even then, we even talked about last week how at least the Bills were allowing the fewest passing points per game to opposing defenses. Joe Burrow throws for 280 and 4 touchdowns in the snow, of course. But beyond that, they had been good. Even the last time they played Drake May, he goes 22 of 30, but he only scores 12 fantasy points because he throws a touchdown through the air. And that's kind of the hard part with the Patriots offense is that they're still playing that rotation of receivers, at least before their bye, even since Kayshon Boutte returned, who, as we all know, he was more touchdown dependent, despite running top 2 in routes run among all their wide receivers. It's really hard if you want to get into this game, how to parse it correctly. Because even if you play with Drake May, and we all remember back to that Bucs game where some combination of May and Baker Mayfield stacked, depending on the field size you played, did win the Millie. It took down all small field tournaments as well. And the way to play it was Drake May single stacking and the opposing team coming back. But then you think about it and it's like, okay, well, even if I want to do that, one, who the hell do you play with Drake May, right? Like that's kind of the issue we've talked about with Trevor Lawrence, that the ball goes everywhere. So it's just really hard stack. And even Stephon Diggs, his 2 games for the bye, ran around on less than 60% of their dropbacks. He's been a roller coaster that's been really hard to parse despite the matchup all year long. Not only that, but then we talk about Josh Allen and you think, okay, I want to play it naked, or as we said last week, just with the tight end, since Dalton Kincaid is still getting targeted on his limited routes because you can't trust all their wide receivers. Even this past game for the Bills against the Bengals, Gabe Davis leads their wide receivers in routes run. He gets a 7% target share for it. So as hard as it is to stack, it's kind of all lifted to the top with the best players. And so for me, I naturally just gravitate to Travion Henderson as the way to play this because I do think one, the Patriots are incorrectly dogs. I think they should be favorites outright. I have a money line bet personally on this game. But the Bills still are what they are and struggling against the run. I know Chase Brown was inefficient, but that's been Chase Brown's his bugaboo all season long. And the last time we saw Travion Henderson before the bye, I understand it was Ramondre Stevens' first game back from injury. That definitely could have played a part in it, but he still commanded over 70% of the backfield touches, and that's what we want for a player who is as explosive. So I think Travion Henderson is still my favorite play in this game.
Henderson 6'1" on DK, 6'7" on FanDuel. And it's tricky because it's two of the best quarterbacks, but not one really reliable pass catcher in the entire game. I'm looking at the ownership overall, and Wednesday night, right? But nobody in double digits. Like, this game feels like it's going to be pretty unowned. Things can certainly change. It's, if you're going to play Allen, people typically like to have somebody you can stack him with. Obviously, with Allen, you don't need that. He can do it on his own. And Drake, to the same degree, he can do it on his own. It's hard to find the pieces, Rich. I like May. I like Allen. Fine with Henderson. I don't know if there's one pass catcher I feel great about. Change my mind.
Can't do it. No, we talk about it. Yeah, and I think Daigle missed the game because the Patriots played on Monday night the week before last their bye, and Ramondre Stevenson not only started.
Oops. Yep, I missed that one. My bad.
Out snapped Henderson 30-19 through 3 quarters and out touched him 12-8. Twitter was losing their minds. Ramondre had kind of taken one game back over, and it really just comes down to pass protection, right? Like. And that's what's killing Henderson from taking over this job. He's out of 70 qualifying backs. He's 68th in pass blocking grade. Only Amari Hampton and Cam Scadaboo are worse. The other rookie quarterbacks. If you watched Amari Hampton on Monday night, you got a good glimpse on that. And Stevenson's 12th, and that's been kind of like the one thing. Because remember, the Patriots, like, they're bad at running. They're a bad running team. Like, Henderson had the 2 long runs against the Buccaneers, but like. They've been consistently pretty bad. Even in the Giants matchup on Monday night, like they weren't good at running the ball in that game either. So like they're not even a team we can count on to take advantage of good rushing matchups like they couldn't in the first matchup between these teams. So that's what makes it even more of a wild card and doing kind of some guesswork. I would agree that like Henderson is appealing from the 2 guys. It's just like we're kind of flying in the dark of like, do they come out of the bye and give him the backfield? Maybe not if he can't pass protect, because Drake, the best part of this team right now is Drake May, and if we got to build the whole plane out of keeping Drake May upright, especially with a left tackle that's on IR for the remainder of the regular season, so that's the other factor though too, is that you want to keep Drake May clean, and Bosa being out in this game is like still just another avenue for that. When the Bills get pressure on the opposing quarterback, they allow the lowest yards per attempt in the NFL, 4.5 yards per attempt, second in completion rate. But without pressure, they go to 11th in completion rate, 25th in yards per pass attempt. They now have played 132 dropbacks with Joey Bosa off the field. They're 28th in completion rate, 31st in yards per pass attempt, and 27th in touchdown rate allowed on those plays. When Drake May was kept clean in that first matchup, he was excellent in that game and efficient. They just had 2 1-yard touchdown runs. Like that happens, right? Like Jared Goff has lived this life. Jared Goff was excellent on the Thursday night game, but they had 4 rushing touchdowns. Like sometimes that happens to you. But Drake May could break a record here. If he throws for 8 yards per pass attempt, he would break the all-time record for games in a row. It's held by 2011 Aaron Rodgers and 1984 Dan Marino. I always love when Dan Marino pops up on those lists because he was playing a different era of football back when teams were not throwing the ball around. So bring Dan Marino back. Bring Philip Rivers back.
How old is Marino? He can't be that much older.
Like he's got to have he had a better arm than Philip Rivers. He's got to be able to still be winging it, right? Like that commercial. But yeah, it's tough for me to tell you about any other individual plays though, because the Bills throw the ball around. I think Kincaid is still a good play. The Patriots are weak against tight ends. He had 100 yards against them in the first game, but like that's really you have does Diggs. How much revenge do we need again? Right?
Is he still vengeful?
And we will definitely see
always vengeful.
Also, Sean McDermott is a tinkerer. Like Sean McDermott's one of these guys. When you look at like him facing quarterbacks, like he changes his approach for things that work, and he calibrates throughout the season. So I'm very curious to see what he does in the rematch this game. And in the first game, the Patriots consistently got Stephon Diggs away from Christian Benford. He only guarded him on 5 of his routes the entire game. I guarantee you that's not the case on Sunday.
I could say the same thing for James Cook and just not being interested in him in this game. It's not only that the Patriots have been good against the run. We've avoided running backs against them all year. But even in this first game, 3.2 yards per carry, Cook's fewest fantasy points in any game all season was with the first time these two teams played. So not really interested in getting involved in him either.
Well, since they lost Milton Williams, they've been real bad the past 3 weeks. They're 27th yards per carry, 25th in success rate. They haven't been nearly as good on the run against the run since they lost Milton Williams.
I think Diggs had his biggest game of the year against Buffalo for what it's worth. I was going to ask Richard, talk about the coach in the game within the game stuff. Is it possible, maybe I'm overthinking it, these teams very well might see each other in the playoffs as well. Is there any sort of holding back of what they really want to do?
I think the Patriots, like you're playing for the 1 seed in the division. Like that, I think all that matters to Vrabel year one as a coach. Like this is like these are signature wins. Like these are culture foundation like wins. So I find it hard. I think they're going to come out and try to win this game.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're trying to.
Well, yeah,
obviously, yeah.
I don't think they're gonna it's not trying to hold anything back.
So our favorite player in this game, it's not a quarterback. I think Daigle said Henderson. If you had to pick somebody, Hribar, who would it be?
And also Daigle forgot that last game on the split too. So thank you to Rich for correcting that. Yes, but it's still Henderson personally.
Yeah, it could still flip and he could still break one. But yeah, and also like
post bye, out of the bye, maybe they evaluated some things. And
I'll give you a real ugly one, like a really ugly one. I don't know how many people listen to us that play like the Millie Maker. I don't know if we have a lot more large field, small field, high stakes players. If you're playing large field and you want to get into this game, I think Kyle Williams is the cheapie that could be super interesting. No idea how many routes you're going to get. Probably not many, but we could get a potential post-buy bump. And at least we know when he gets there. Again, we're talking about a slate. You got to spend up everywhere. And so at least when Kyle Williams gets there, like his 5 catches this year, 8, 12, 18, 33, and 72 yards. And so at least when he wins, like he wins big. And so I do think Kyle Williams is an interesting, like stone minimum play.
Yeah, his floor is literally 0, like you said, but it just takes one play for him to get you where you need to be. Can you see Kyle Williams, Rich?
No, I don't expect him to talk about Kyle Williams.
No. They said Kincaid, I think, is interesting if you're running Josh Allen. We didn't even really talk about Josh Allen. You know, I brought up Dehember, but they're like Josh Allen. This is like his time of the year. Over his career, his highest scoring month is December. He averages over 25 points per game, off to a good start this year. Last year, he averaged over 30 points per game in December. So, like this is usually where the Bills start to put everything on his back, and he kind of carries these games and runs around throwing touchdowns. Doesn't even matter, like right? Like he's even like you said, like just like what if we just have a whole game where we build it out of the tight ends? Sure, why not? There'll probably be some jamoke that catches a touchdown in this game, but you don't have to play him. You can just keep playing Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, it could be Gabe Davis, it could be Shavers. Who knows? It's hard to tell. Well, was it last week we had that pass where he kind of threaded it between the defender, Josh Allen? Touchdown.
Yeah, it was the Shakir touchdown.
Oh my God, that was just amazing. I don't know how. I think there was a penalty anyway, but still, it was a pretty spectacular. Just Josh Allen reminds you, if not the best quarterback in the league, top 2, top 3, he's pretty spectacular.
And don't forget, like this Patriots team, like they have not been tested. Like Josh Allen still threw for over 8 yards per pass attempt in that first game. He had the 2 touchdowns. He ran for 50 yards. But like, look at these quarterbacks the Patriots have faced. Like Jackson Dart, Joe Flacco, Bryce Young, Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, Michael Penix, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, Spencer Rattler, like Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, and Geno Smith. Like, people forget. Like, remember the season started with the Raiders beating the Patriots. Like, would you imagine telling that to someone right now?
Have they faced one? Did you skip? Was there one good quarterback you skipped over? I guess
Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
I didn't go through the game log with you as you're rattling those off, but yeah, it's an untested defense for sure. Okay.
It reminds me of that year, the like 2 years ago, the Browns, and they made it when Flacco's the quarterback, and like that year they just like somehow faced every backup quarterback in the league.
What was that record you made up? That's not a real record. You said Drake May, if he throws for 8 yards.
Yeah, he's thrown for over 8 yards per attempt in 10 straight games. Everything's a record.
Nobody knows who's the leader in that. I guess you can make up your own record. I feel like that's but okay, I guess it's noted. You think he knows that going into the game?
No, Drake May doesn't care.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a real. All right. Game number 3, the game of the slate, and another one where, if salary wasn't a thing, this game. And at the Rams, 55 is the total, 5.5 point favorite as far as the Rams this week. These quarterbacks, of course, used to play for the other team. taking a peek at the playoff stuff, right? Rams, essentially, they haven't officially locked it up, but they're going to be in the playoffs. How about the Lions? The Lions still puncher's chance, 31% chance to make the playoffs. They probably, I guess they have to win out and get some help, but certainly they are going to be heavily motivated here. Rich, lots of options. It's just salary can be a thing, but we saw Gibbs absolutely break the slate. I think that was last week. I get my weeks confused, but just incredible, spectacular. Amon-Ra gave it a go as well. So many good pieces, Puka and Devontae. I think Devontae scored another touchdown. No, Puka got long touchdown.
No, he did not score. His streak ended. He'd have 2 more end zone targets, but they couldn't connect. They didn't connect the last one.
Puka had a couple long ones. I think that's how he got in the end zone. That's how he has to get there. And then we saw Blake Corum, who hey, shout out to Blake Corum. He got me there on the late slate. That was my difference maker. We took down – no, I think I got second. I got second in the $50 single entry, but won some of the baby contests. So shout out to Blake Corum. All right, on to Week 15, Rich. So many options. Salary is tough at times. Where are we looking first at Lions-Rams?
Yeah, this is a fun game here. You look at the Rams, they lead the league in margin of 20-yard plays versus their opponents. Well, the Lions are second in the NFL in plays of 20 or more yards per game. The Rams are second in points per drive. The Lions are third in points per drive. The Rams are second in touchdown rate they're number 1 in touchdown rate per drive. And the Lions are second. Like this game it's indoors, right? On a slate, it's full of cold. We're indoors. We got all the fast players, all the good players. We have nothing to worry about. This is kind of what we look for, right? Granted, everyone is expensive, but you look at the Stafford's side, and like Sean McVay just completely coaches for opponent. Last week they dusted off that heavy personnel. That 13 personnel was back. They used it on 60% of their snaps, 40% of their passing plays as their highest rates in a game this season for them. But it made sense to do that against Arizona, against Jonathan Gannon, right? Jonathan Gannon they have a banged up front seven. They play a lot of quarters, a lot of coverage. You go heavy against them, you throw out a heavy. But are they going to do that against the Lions? Tutu Atwell's coming back. The Lions lost Brian Branch to an Achilles injury for the rest of the season. Kirby Joseph has missed the past 7 games. He might play. We'll see. Terrion Arnold is out for the season. Like the Lions are just beat up at the back end. And over the past 5 games, allowed the most passing yards in the NFL, the most touchdowns in the NFL. They're 30th in yards per pass attempt. They've allowed over 18 fantasy points to Marcus Mariota, 30 points to Jameis Winston, 26 points to Jordan Love. 18 points to Dak Prescott, which could have been more. He left points in the field with some turnovers too. Stafford, he does all the things the Lions are bad at. Under center passing, they've been awful at defending, play action passing. It feels like this is still a spot where Sean McVay is going to be able to generate points against this just beat up Lions secondary. And I think that's telling in the line. Like, when I first flipped this over and I was like, man, the Rams are 6-point favorites. This is crazy against Dan Campbell. And then when I started to break it down with the injuries and stuff and where the Lions have been vulnerable defensively, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess some of this really checks out.
Rams have a team total of 30.5. And I agree. It feels like they're just going to be able to light up the Lions however they want. 2 quarterbacks that don't move, but it feels like 303 possibly on layaway for Stafford, Puka, Adams, both fine choices. Daigle, how do you feel about the Rams? Do you have a lean as far as Puka versus Adams when you consider salary?
Oh, man. I love both. You can't poke holes in either. I don't mind chasing Devontae Adams' touchdown. It's funny because in his last 6 games, he has 8 touchdowns. But even then, he's only outscoring his expected fantasy points by 1 point. It's not even a high margin because the usage in leading the league and red zone and end zone targets in that time is so good. So when you talk about range of outcomes and saving salary, I think I'd pick Devontae Adams. And I've plugged this into optimizers already, Stafford, Puka, and Devontae, and you're stuffed with a Stoneman wide receiver and mid-priced running back. So you're not even allowed to get up to Gibbs, McCaffrey, Barkley, the other guys in that time. So it's really hard, but it's exactly like Rich said. It is so clean from the top down. The last 3 games without Tyler Higbee, Puka leads the league in being targeted on 42% of his routes because we got our king wide receiver back. Devontae Adams against man coverage still has a top 10 rate and target rate. I already mentioned about scoring touchdowns. It's it's as clean as possible. Like, so if you want to get involved in Colby Parkinson, for example, the last 3 games without Higbee does lead all tight ends and red zone targets. If you just want to cross your fingers for a touchdown, you can get there. If you want Stafford nukes, Tutu Atwell is coming back. If you want to get cute and get there, probably you're only going to get 5 to 10 routes, but one deep shot against man coverage, which the Lions do lead the league in the last month, despite all their injuries, he can get there. So I'm trying to get involved in the Rams passing attack in particular, mostly because we always talk about when teams do well, how are they going to reach a ceiling? And I just have no faith in Kyron Williams or Blake Corum outside of falling forward in the end zone from 1 yard out. And they can certainly do that. But the Rams, the Lions, I should say, have still limited every single running back they faced this year to less than 90 rushing yards. They have the 5th best success rate on the ground on defense as well. So whereas Kyron's naturally going to start and be a high floor RB2, it's just not a situation I want to get involved in because I don't think either can reach their ceiling here.
You were running onslaughts. Were you trying to force a run back with a try? I know you mentioned you didn't have much salary, so it's hard to even get to if you're getting those 2 receivers.
Your best chance is JMO. You genuinely, unless you play 2 stone men wide receivers, and then you have to ask yourself how many points you're leaving on the table, you genuinely just can't get to Stafford, Gibbs, Puka, Devontae. It's just not, it's literally not possible to make like a winning lineup, I guess, as far as I'm concerned, unless a lot of things open up by Friday or Sunday, which could happen. But I do think Jameson Williams a fun player in this game, because if you take away, oddly, that game that blew up against the Giants and Jameis Winston, beyond that, in his last 5 games around that, his worst performance was 66 yards and a touchdown. The past 2 weeks now, I think naturally, because they don't have Sam Laporta or Brock Wright, and say what you want about Brock Wright, but he can at least earn targets. Their other tight ends can't. I think because we've dwindled down this target tree now, these last 2 games, Jameson Williams has recorded a 37% and 29% target share. I know the 37% Amon-Ra St. Brown got injured in the first quarter of that game, but he's still out here earning targets every single week. So when we just want to spin down for a 2-touchdown guy that is in JMO's range of outcomes in this high floor, indoor explosions game.
Is Tesla not a better dart than Atwell? They're essentially the same price.
You can get there. I think it gets murky if Khalif Raymond is out or is in, and he was limited on Wednesday. Could be nothing. Ankle sprain, could be back this week. But at least last week we saw 83% route share, season high mark. And then again, he's so cheap. Not to mention that the Rams are actually allowing the most yards per game in the league to tertiary wide receiver 3s. Again, a dwindled target tree. I could get there for Tesla for sure if you want to run it back that way.
Yeah, I mean, the season's not over for Detroit, but it feels like he's somebody they probably want to develop going forward. Maybe get him some more reps.
And it could be garbage time because, like Rich said, from the way I described this game and wrote it up as well, I kind of think the Rams just dunk on the Lions here.
We talk about Tesla a lot, and I guess I'm talking about him right now. Only 8 catches in the season. It's so crazy.
But they're all good catches.
And they're all touchdowns. Right? He's the new Chris Carter, right?
His WAR is actually 50 because he's adding a lot with those catches.
Yeah, 8 catches, 120 yards, 4 touchdowns. Rich, who is your favorite cheapie in this game? You got to pick somebody cheaper. There's a lot of good expensive pieces. And also, would you prioritize Gibbs? Or I guess you're first prioritizing one of the Rams pass catchers?
Yeah, Puka would be the guy if I had just if salary was not an object.
Correct.
Obviously, that you just want to get Puka. He's been like Daigle said, Devontae Adams has good target shares against man coverage. Has been pretty bad against man coverage. He actually averages almost a full yard per out run lower against man coverage. The other thing with Devontae Adams is the whole plane is built out of touchdowns. That might be my phrase of the show. I keep saying the whole plane. He's averaging his fewest receiving yards since his second year in the NFL. Look at his DK scores, Dean. He's only had 25 points once. He hasn't dropped a scores like you've had to have. He's good. He constantly gets you low 20s, 20 low 20s. But he's never dropping the 100 yards with these 2 touchdowns, because that's when he would be just nutso.
He has 3 touchdowns and 26 points. That's
isn't that crazy?
That's
it's wild.
26 points. He didn't break the
slate. Imagine if he did have yards. This dude would be.
He's only 1-yard touchdowns. It's hard to get a lot of yards.
That's why they're all inside the 5.
And most of the time, I think it's easy to push back against touchdown regression. But I do think Devontae Adams and Sean McVay in this spot in particular.
We saw
too,
this coming. It was all, dude, Demarcus Robinson is their leading end. I was like, oh my goodness, they're just replacing all his end zone targets with
but now it's Devontae Adams. It's like the guy who tells all the kids to go run their routes. Like now it's the king himself getting put in this position by Sean McVay. That's why I'm like, in the offseason, I'll easily push back. But right now, I'm not even talking about regression. I think this guy's just going to keep scoring 2 touchdowns every week.
And he will, because like I said, the Rams are a big accolade team. Like, dude, they're going to get Stafford this MVP. Like, and if there's a record on the table for Devontae Adams, they're going to try to get it. That opening drive of the game, he got back-to-back end zone targets. Like they were trying still. Just some didn't work out. Some of them have to be incomplete. But he's like the one guy when I look at like the big pieces, and like, granted, maybe this is a spot because the Lions give up like all their points to wide receivers. Like they're good against tight ends. They're good against running backs, like Daigle said. So maybe it's just a spot where like it's just fed through these two guys, and you do get that 100-yard game from Adams. I think he only has one 100-yard game this year, so maybe we can get a second one here because he's still a very good player, so he's capable of doing it as well. But I do want to prioritize Puka if I can. Lions are a lot more interesting since it's a lot more wide open, because we always talk about like the Rams at this point of the season turn into last year's Bengals. Like, you want to play Stafford as Burrow, you want to play Puka as Chase, and you want T. Higgins as Adams. But like eventually we just get priced into a zone where you can't do it. And remember that happened with the Bengals last year. And that's kind of where we are with these guys. It's just really hard to build doubles, especially when they face a team where all the other guys are expensive too. So it's really tricky. But Gibbs is getting like the kind of usage, like this Gibbs is getting CMC usage, but as like a prime player. Like CMC has needed all the usage he's gotten because like he's not the CMC of like years past, especially as a runner. But like we're seeing now Gibbs get like a workload, especially as a receiver, that has like unlocked the type of ceiling that's like some stuff you can't come back from. Now it's been a little volatile because I gave the Thanksgiving game where he didn't end up popping, but since Dan Campbell took over play calling, his snaps have gone up 7% per game. His backfield touches have gone up 10%. He is the RB2 in targets in the NFL over that span behind Christian McCaffrey. He's the RB1 in target rate per out run. So it's like we're getting like the full package almost unlocked for him. And like it's scary. You're starting to see like some of these scores. Like he has over 35 PPR points 3 times. Like in the past 6 weeks. Like these are scores that are really hard to come back from. And it's really hard to kind of want to leave that on the table. Rams also very good against running backs, but they also gave up points to Christian McCaffrey, 2 top 10 weeks to him. So he's going to have that kind of usage. He's capable. I think building through Jared Goff is kind of interesting because now a lot of people are going to do there though. But I think there's some real strong peripherals here for Goff. The Los Angeles has been more vulnerable on play action passes. They're 31st in completion rate on play action passes. They go from 6.2 yards per pass attempt on static dropbacks to 7.6 yards per pass attempt on play action passes. And as good as the Rams have been, they've allowed QB1 scoring weeks to Bryce Young and Jacoby Brissett the past 2 weeks. I mean, Brissett just keeps getting away with it. They allowed 2 300-yard passing games to Mac Jones. So like, Jared Goff could be kind of a sneaky way to kind of get through it while people are trying to jam in Rams. And people obviously still want to play Gibbs for the reasons I talked about, but like what if the double you want is the team that's trailing? We're getting Dan Campbell in a game where they're 6-point dogs. You think they're punting in this game?
And they
like,
must. They have to.
Dude, so what if it's Goff, Amon-Ra, J-Mo's the double you want to be building? It's a lot more palatable. It's still expensive, but it is a lot more palatable to build through.
Yeah. 55.5 total. The most interesting, the most appealing game on the board. Also in the late window, 425. If you want to do some pivots and just try to figure out, play what's happening, the early results. If I have any tiebreakers, I will default to Lions, Rams. That's kind of where I'm sitting as far as a Wednesday night. So, Rich, if you're going to build a realistic stack in this game, is it Goff, Amon-Ra, J-Mo? Can you get to? You probably can't get to Puka or.
There's no way. I would doubt you could, right?
Yeah, I mean, your running backs will be rough for sure. Your tight end would be nonsense also. But what's like the most realistic looking game stack you can come up with? I mean, we want to be ideally, of course, yeah, you want Amon-Ra, you want J-Mo, you want Gibbs, you want the best pieces. But have you figured this out just yet? I have not. It's like kind of trying to see like what is actually playable where we have, we can fill out the rest of our lineup without having to hold our nose too much.
Yeah, I'm looking at Goff, because he still is like 6'1". It's tough. So here, I just ran one with no rules. and it's the Goff double, and it gave me Goff, Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, which you're not getting a Ram coming back. So you have to hope that either one of the guys is just like it gets spread around, right? Like maybe Puka gets one, Adams gets one or two, but does the score that you don't need. Maybe Colby Parkinson gets one, right? And it's spread around. But I ran it, and you still got Goff, Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Wandell, Harold Fannin. Like this at least it's still stuff to play around with. It's just a really good slate. I think we are open though. When I look at this slate too, and we look at all the real top end plays, like what if we just play a bunch of good plays and not play like a Luther Burden this week and not play a punt? Like what if we just play a bunch of good plays that fit in lineups?
It's a novel idea. It's an interesting approach. Daigle, anything else as far as Lions, Rams? I think we've kind of bounced around back and forth and talked about both sides of this game. It should be a good one. I think it's going to live up. I think it's going to be at least, especially the Rams side. I don't want to bet the under. Over is a big number, but I think it's justified.
Yeah, with Dan Campbell calling plays, Goff has led the league with 9.1 yards per attempt from a clean pocket. So if the Rams don't get there, like we know, Jared Goff will still have his way here. So it's volatile on the Lions side, but like Rich said, definitely wide open. You could even leave Amon-Ra off if you wanted to. You could go, this goes against Rich playing all the good plays, but you could go Goff, Gibbs, J-Mo, and Tesla if you want to do that. Run it back with Puka or Devontae and Parkinson. So there's lots of ways to play this game. I can imagine I'll get involved here for 6 or 7 plays because I do think it's the environment that I'm most confident shoots out. I'm very confident some offenses like the Niners will get into, but in terms of like an overall environment, we got indoors, we got 2 of the best play callers, we got explosive offenses, we got the best players in the league. Like I'm very confident we're going to see points here.
Yeah, like I said, Dan Campbell as a dog, like dude, they're going to be going for all kinds of fourth downs to drive people crazy.
Can we bet under on punts for the Lions? Is that a good bet? I don't know what the number is, but just sort of thinking about it out loud. Like you said, anything that's like a 50-50 call, he's going to be going for it. It makes a lot of sense. And they're probably going to be down. You probably have to push. You got to keep up with the Rams here. Okay.
I mean, the Rams are just like they're right now, and I know they lost that game 2 weeks ago. So like it's NFL, anyone could lose. They had the turnovers that cost them. But like, man, dude, they are a machine right now. Because even in that Panthers game, they just went up and down the field. It's just the turnovers. Like, gosh, man, they are absolutely firing, and they're doing it different ways every week.
The Panthers game was like the Ravens on Thanksgiving, where Lamar gets to the goal line and has a wacky fumble because he can't do anything normal. Everything he does is like extra spectacular. Yeah, the Panthers game was so frustrating.
Yeah, Sean McVay's done an excellent job. It's a bummer because like when you're good, like you get no coach of the year is just one of those things. It's like we thought you were going to be bad, therefore you must have done a great job. The guys that do a good coaching jobs continuously or adjust like Sean McVay. I think this is one of the best Sean McVay coaching jobs like we've seen.
You get, scored against your previous record. You're penalized for being good. And, it's kind of it's based upon expectations. And if you're expected to be terrible and you're pretty good, but not elite, that's great. You're all of a sudden the top 2. You're on the podium with nothing else. But I think Vrabel deserves it. It's going to be Vrabel, right? I assume it's going to be Vrabel.
Probably,
yeah. I mean, the schedule, like Rich mentioned the quarterbacks, but we knew that schedule also coming into the year. Like it became easier because of backup quarterbacks, but the Patriots had that really simple projected schedule all off season long.
The fact that like Kyle Shanahan's like 8th in odds for this year of Coach of the Year is like ludicrous. Like,
I agree with you. Yeah,
absolutely wild. Like because Kyle Shanahan's another guy, like he has no shot of winning because the expectations are so high. He's like the fact that the 49ers are even in the position that they are with the amount of injuries they had, it's just crazy. He's like 8th in odds.
All right. That was the 3 main games. Going to run it back, give our fair plays position by position. Before we do that, I do want to shout out Missouri. If you're not aware, if you're living in Missouri, sports betting is now live. Be sure to check out the link in the show description on the YouTube. Hit that like button while you're at it too to find the best promo codes when signing up for all the available sports books in Missouri. Also want to mention we have a 3-day pass special right now here at RotoGrinders. You want to try out the NFL DFS tools without making a full season commitment. For a limited time, you get 3 days, 3-day NFL pass and access to everything you need to crush the slate. That would include things like the optimizer tool, Lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership projections, much, much more. all the articles, the bells, the whistles, all the goods, everything behind the paywall. You'll also get SimLabs NFL, which is the easiest way to build smart, competitive lineups in just a few clicks. All that, less than $10, $9.99. Do not miss your chance to get a serious edge. Time that right. Again, 3-day pass. Make sure you get sign up on the right night, and you get the 3 days worth that you want. All right, let's go ahead, circle back, and talk about our favorite quarterbacks. Who is left on the board, Daigle? Who do we not talk about as far as the three main games? Favorite quarterbacks? What do you got?
We got a couple. That includes the person I think will be the cash game quarterback, Jackson Dart. It's Wednesday, could change, but looking pretty positive that he's going to be a great play. Dan Quinn the last month has really struggled, including the call I got absolutely wrong last week against JJ McCarthy and the Vikings passing attack, even though no one got there with JJ McCarthy if they played him because Justin Jefferson didn't carry his own weight. But beyond that, we're still looking at this last month against quarterbacks. JJ McCarthy, 3 touchdowns last week. Bo Nix scored 16 fantasy points, went over 300 yards, got the bonus against them. Jared Goff before that, remember, dunked on them for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Sam Darnold prior to that, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. So we're really on a run of teams or quarterbacks reaching 20 fantasy points with ease against Dan Quinn's defense. So think he's interesting. You can get back in on Marcus Mariota as well, who's played some wild games the last month, including the overtime Sunday night game against Denver, but still brought them to overtime, had his most fantasy points of the season as well against Denver. And we know the Giants are still top 3 in man coverage, even under new defensive coordinator and Mike Kafka, interim head coach. Marcus Mariota will have a lot of opportunities to deliver, at least on the ground. And then I got 2 ugly ones. I don't want to take all of them from Rich. I don't think I'm going to take these from Rich, though. They're ugly. So just in terms, again, of looking at who's cheap on the slate and trying to spend up, one, not for the weak of heart, but Jordan Love. The Broncos lead the league in their use of man coverage. Since Christian Watson came back in week 8, Jordan Love is second in EPA per dropback, 10 touchdowns, 0 picks against man coverage. And we've seen the Broncos get, even with the best defense in the league, get into some freaky game scripts. And it always comes down to the opposing quarterback, Jackson Dart, Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott, being able to push them. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but all these salaries, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, they have been dropped because they're playing against the Broncos. So you can get involved in that game that no one's going to play. And then also, if you just want to spin down at quarterback, I don't know if I'm going to get there, but if you want to spin down, Tyler Shuck is 4,900, and he has 6 carries in 3 consecutive games. 4,900 on DraftKings, I should say. The Panthers still pressuring quarterbacks at the league's lowest rate, so we're probably going to get some production from there.
I'm seeing a combination as far as cash game quarterbacks. Dart, Mariota, and Stroud is kind of what I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of those 3 currently popping up is like the most popular without putting anything in as far as forcing stacks. The 3 most popular quarterbacks that I am getting. For Darts, Daigle, they talked about trying to not let him run as much. Yeah, I think he only had 4 carries last game, which I think
zero designed runs.
That's what I was getting at. I didn't know that. That is that important? How much do we care about that? And I assume that's likely to be the case going forward.
The other thing too is they didn't let him throw. If you remember that game, they were trailing the Patriots and they weren't even trying to win the game. They threw the ball 15% below expectations in that game, 13% of first. Like the game was like a 2-score game and they weren't even like trying to win. It was so frustrating.
I was going to say, you asked if we were worried. Yes, we're worried, Dean. But he's so cheap and it's such like a good game script against a bad defense. I think this is a situation where, when we talk about DFS, it's hard because Rich and I do the research. We have takes, but then also we're trying to tell people how to get to the top of tournaments. And so sometimes you're like, but also I don't care. I'm just going to play it. So it's just a situation where I can see myself saying, I don't care. I could get into Mariota and Terry McLaurin. We're going to talk about the Washington running backs, Jackson Dart. I think Theo Johnson also may be the cash game tight end. So I think people are just naturally going to funnel into the Giants offense.
That was the first week last week that Dart also did not have a rushing touchdown since week 5. So yeah, again, I don't know. I was just asking. I was curious why it was only 4.
Oh yeah.
I thought that I want him to be able to run, but I also don't want him to concuss himself. So like if I'm rostering the guy, it's tricky. But if they're going to tell him not to run and if they're not letting him throw, okay.
Whereas Mariota is going to run in a good matchup. I don't know if people are going to trust Mariota in cash games, but Yeah, because Jackson Dart's still a good passer.
Yeah. Rich, who was left for you?
Yeah, I thought for sure we would have Commanders, Giants. It would have been a lot more fun, I think, to talk about than Patriots, Bills.
Yeah, I agree. I thought about it, but...
Well, I also thought, too, that Daigle had a contractual obligation to talk about Darius Slayton every time he plays the Commanders. So, I guess we'll still talk about it.
He has been better than Wandale when he's played. Everyone keeps trying to tell Wandale, and it's like,
I know, and Wandale's going to be way more popular. We'll get there.
Always.
But I thought we were going to talk about this. I had those two guys just kind of to talk about on my list. I also had Stroud on my list. Just it's Houston is their highest implied team total of the season. This Arizona defense is just limping to the finish line. And Stroud's best games have been like identifiable, like all of them. His 3 best games came against that Baltimore defense that they put on the field. With just like the backups, the 49ers depleted team when they just come off the Fred Warner injury, and then the Titans. So he does stand out as well. And you're going to get a lot of passing volume from the Cardinals, so it just leads the plays. And also another team that like sneakily like can't run very good. So like even if people want to play Woody Marks, I don't know if it matters because they're not a very good runner.
Oh, so that's the point about Stroud that you make a good point, because one at the chat points out Stroud is 100 less than Shuck on FanDuel, so that's a good price already.
But that's a good price.
But two, Woody Marks is a cash game running back. He's getting played this week, so that naturally makes it a good pivot to double Stroud up.
Yeah, I do like Stroud. And then I mean, listen, I just watched Shedeur Sanders score 34 points against the Tennessee Titans. How are we not running back Brock Purdy, baby?
Sure.
Like not even Shedeur Sanders. The Tennessee Titans have allowed 7 quarterback ones in a row, 7 straight. The guys like Davis Mills run this. Remember, their whole secondary's gone. They lost to L'Jarius Sneed. They traded 2 cornerbacks. Like, they are just getting absolutely cooked on the back end. They're also a team that doesn't get any pressure. 49ers coming off by at home, huge team total. I think Brock Purdy stacks look pretty fun on this particular slate. Maybe we can pick those guys. And then just as a note, if Lane Johnson plays, the Eagles guys are gross, but like they're cheap, man. Like with Lane Johnson on the field this season, Jalen Hurts has 247 dropbacks. He's a 70% completion rate, 7.6 yards per pass attempt, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception against the Raiders at home. Like even if you don't like that also plays the Saquon. With Lane Johnson on the field, Saquon has a run of 10 or more yards on 11.3% of his carries with Lane Johnson on the field. He's only at 4.2 yards per carry, pretty modest, but 4 of his touchdowns came with Lane Johnson on the field. With Lane Johnson off the field, 3.6 yards per carry, double-digit run on 7.4% of attempts, just the 1 touchdown, which is the variation of the tush push. The one thing I will be bummed if the tush push does get banned, though, is like we're starting to see teams do fun things around the tush push. Like we had the Mark Andrews touchdown. The Kenneth Gainwell had that long run. We had the Eagles ran the Saquon play. Well, the Raiders, too, that they've allowed a top 10 scoring week 3 weeks in a row to RJ Harvey, Kamani Vidal, and Quinshon Judkins. Like, so it's like, no, they're not getting beat by exactly the world's finest here either.
We've also seen we're seeing the tush push have its lowest conversion rate. It's still at, I believe, 68% last I looked. But that's lower than the quarterback sneak, which is 78%. And I think it's because we're seeing some like weird things. I can't remember what defense it was, maybe the Vikings, but one of their defensive tackles laid down in front of the center, like just sat up like a dog on all 4s. And they're like, all right, we'll see if you could get past like the chair I'm creating here.
Yeah.
So I agree with everyone just doing whatever the hell it takes to stop the offsides and trying to stop the tush push.
Also, Dean, your least favorite player keeps scoring fantasy points.
Oh, T-Law? Yeah, he's projecting pretty well on FanDuel. Do we like him this week?
Yeah, I mean, the Jets are another team. They're 31st in points allowed on the road. He'd be still more of like a cash gaming guy. I think I like ETN more in that particular matchup of the guys, but I mean, he just keeps scoring points. The matchup's great again.
Who do I stack Purdy with on San Fran? It just feels like I can't really trust.
Well, there's one obvious one, and then Kittle, I think you could do a gross. Yeah, Kittle's the obvious because
he's hitting. Kittle's hitting optimals as well.
Yeah, and the Titans have allowed 6 tight end 1 scoring weeks over their past 8 games. We just saw Fanning go over 100. So Kittle's the obvious one. Can I talk you into A Ricky Pearsall.
You're gonna say Pearsall, aren't you?
What my question really was, can I trust
not
Pearsall?
Pearsall.
That was kind of my question.
Okay.
Well, Jennings, I think Jennings, if you want to get away from Kittle, I think you do. If you just want to play it smart, you do Jennings Kittle. is the way to play it. But if there was going to be a matchup for Ricky Pearsall to actually cash in, like this would be it. Like he's still been on the field. So Pearsall's problem is we haven't seen him earn targets when all the 49ers play. He's not as good as the other guys. That's fair. But we also know eventually something's going to find him in the offense, especially with the types of routes he runs. And he's been on the field 85%, 88%, 94% of dropbacks. So he's out there. He's our cardio guy. He's getting exercising. I mean, the 49ers have a super high team total. They are facing a Titans team that's just been flooded by wide receivers. I just talked about their secondary. They are 30th in yards per target to wide receivers. They have allowed the most receptions of 10 or more yards downfield to wide receivers in the NFL. Like, if you're going to do like something in the Millie or large field, like here's the problem with Pearsall though, Dean. Why the fuck is he 5'1" still?
That was the rant. He's 5'1". Last week he was 5'2". He had 3.4 fantasy points. He should be 40. He should be 4,200. It's ridiculous. Like, use the same energy dropping prices that you use to raise it. That's all. That's all I ask. Treat it like the stock market. And I could not believe his price was 5'1". He's combined. I'm doing some math here. 7 fantasy points the last 3 weeks.
He has 20. He has 20 yards since coming back.
Yeah. Like, how is this possible? How is he 5'1"? I don't understand.
It would only be in like Purdy large field stuff where I think you get that cute. Otherwise, I think you just Jennings Kittle it. Yeah, but
what's he on FanDuel? Does he have a really good price on FanDuel? Have they adjusted? He's 5'7" over there, which is a little better, relatively speaking. 6'2" for Jennings, though, who seems like a better play.
They bought that for 500 different.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the other thing too is the Titans have turned into a pass funnel, which is crazy because they're bad at, that's their weakness is their secondary. Since week 9, they allow the fewest yards per carry to running backs. Only 60 rushing yards per game to running backs. They haven't allowed an RB1 scorer since week 8, and they faced a bunch of good dudes over that span. Like they need to stop being good against the run. It's pushing teams to just throw on them. I mean, 49ers stacks in that late window look pretty good too, especially if you're trailing coming into that late slate and you're holding Lions.
How are they giving up passes to running backs? Because CMC is projecting, at least from what I'm seeing, to be very, very popular, especially on FanDuel. If they're subduing the run, that's how CMC kind of has to get there, right?
Right. And I think this would be a slate not to pay for him. And as says local man, as the watch 30 points for CMC as a 10-point home favorite with a 20-point team total. But like usually with CMC, the rule of thumb that I've generated this year is you always treat him as an RB1, but for him to be the RB1, he has to have the games where he marries the rushing with the receiving. And this is a spot where I think you can question that. All of his like huge Gibraltar games where he's been the RB1 overall is where he's been able to generate rushing production with the receiving.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting fade for tournaments because I think at least what I'm seeing, are you seeing the same thing, Daigle? Are you seeing CMC hitting a bunch of optimal stuff right now?
Well, a lot of my optimals have a lot of Rams, and so no, because I can't afford him. But yes, CMC is going to obviously be super popular. People will probably even look to remember that Cardinals game. They were up 35-16 with 4.5 minutes to play, and Shanahan gave them a touch on their last 5 plays while the starters were in for a 3rd touchdown. Like they don't care; they're going to run him into the ground. But again, that's how he has to score is being run into the ground. If it's long touchdowns, which is what you're betting on. When you play Kittle, Jennings, and Pearsall, then that naturally eliminates Christian McCaffrey's volume.
Okay, that kind of bleeds in the running backs. We talked about CMC, Hribar. Who are some guys you want to target?
What do you say? I brought up the note just of Lane Johnson plays that just about Saquon, and then Travis Etienne. Definitely, like every time we think Travis Etienne is about to give it up to Bashal Tutin, he comes right back.
Huge separation last week.
Tutin lost the fumble, and then we never saw him again.
Shadow round after that.
And I do think we'll see Tutin here, but we're getting the Jaguars as just massive home favorites against this Jets team that is also bleeding out to close the season. And we have a few of these teams like the final month, right? Like they've either traded guys, had guys hurt. Like these defenses are putting it to bed here. Like trips are being planned. Like the Cardinals defense, like they've just had no hope. Like, and that's where we are with the Jets right now. The Jets have allowed 5 RB1 scores in their past 4 games. They've allowed 6 top 20 running backs in their past 4 games. So I think Tootin can even play and get involved, and there's enough meat on the bone here. The Jets are facing 28 backfield runs per game over that span. They are 26 in rushing yards allowed per game. They've allowed 9 rushing touchdowns over that span. That's the most in the league. So yeah, Travis Etienne is another guy. He's like not ever super sexy to click, but just a real solid glue guy in a really favorable spot. And then you don't have to play Trevor Lawrence if you play him, Dean.
When was the last time the Jags are like 13 and a half point favorites? I feel like that's been a while. Just question.
They're playing good, man. Like
yeah,
they're playing real good.
It's also called Brady Cook on the other side.
that's a Brady Cook. Yeah, it's a Brady Cook stat.
It's a Brady Cook line.
That's a good point. Anybody else, Rich, in the holster? Or you want to yield to?
I was gonna pass them around to Daigle because like I think like when we talk about the guys on the slate, like we talk about Derrick Henry, we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, like those are guys that like I'm trying to build around too.
Sure,
Daigle.
I'll talk about the cash game guys I hinted at. Woody Marks, you can still play. Like Rich said, the Cardinals are giving up across the board, including 5 consecutive games with 80 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown at least to opposing RB1s. Woody Marks the last 4 games, 18, 16, 19, 26 carries. So sure, you're going to get the volume there if you want to play it that way. The Washington running backs, Chris Rodriguez, DMP today. Regardless, though, whoever's out there, Chris Rodriguez, if he's out, go to Corey Krosky-Merritt. I mean, you're talking about the best matchup possible. It is the Giants, who are bottom 2 in both yards before and after contact allowed, and allowing the high success rate to opposing running backs in the league. So we're going to get in. Chris Rodriguez, even last week, Corey Krosky-Merritt, 3 of his 5 carries came on the final drive when they were trailing 31-0 just to kill the clock. Chris Rodriguez still out there, and he had an efficient outing. The game script was so bad for him, though. So I'm still really high on one of those, whoever the starter is. And then a couple ugly ones. Well, I'll do one ugly one, and then I can toss it back to Rich. Ashton Genty, because in a high-scoring slate, anytime you can play a player from a team that has a 13.5-point team total, you should definitely do it. But the Eagles without Jalen Carter now 3 games, 100 yards from scrimmage and at least 1 touchdown to all 3 backfields they faced, including that Kamani Vidal, Omarion Hampton combination on Monday night. Ashton Genty is not a committee. He's going to see every single touch. So again, if you're just flipping the bill for a mid-priced running back, you can try to luck box your way there with the passing floor as well and get to the end zone.
I've seen some projection models do like Genty. They liked him last week.
Yeah, he might be higher rostered than I like. Yeah,
the Sims always loved Ashton Genty.
But I don't think people actually click buttons like it necessarily as much as the Sims like it. Do we care? Is Chubb going to play or we don't care? It doesn't really matter. Marks has separated himself. I know Dare stole a touchdown last week. What do you got, TJ?
I was actually just going to ask about that as well, because bring up that Marks didn't practice today either.
Yeah.
And so just how much would you guys prioritize a 4K Houston running back if, say, they were both out, whether that be an Dare Agumbawale or whoever else?
It would have to be Dare, right? Because Dameon Pierce is on the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's on the Chiefs.
There's nobody. They would call somebody for the practice squad, as far as I can tell.
I would assume Marks is going to play, though.
I think Marks is going to play as well.
Late in the season, Wednesday, typical chill day. But yeah, I guess something to keep an eye on.
I'm all for
although Marks has the Jalen Waddle gene, like that dude leaves every game for like 5 plays. You're like, oh, is this dude really hurt? Like oh my gosh, he's hurt again. Like and then he comes back. It's like
did you have another one, Rich, as far as RBs?
No, I had the Giants running backs written down but I saw Tracy played today or practice today, so looks coming back. But I was just kind of earmarking that because when there's been one Giants running back, that Giants running back's been good. And like I said, that game is a stack 'em up game. Like if you want salary, like we'll talk about receivers. Daigle already brought Theo Johnson on the horizon too. Like that is a stack 'em up game where like no one is really expensive in that game.
Yeah, it's just hard to figure out what the usage is going to be, how it's going to be dispersed amongst Tracy and Singletary.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, but I don't think you need to get there. If it was just one guy, it would be cool.
Okay.
And then one more, another ugly one. Again, probably not going to get there, but I like to mention just in case because they are part of my pool early in the week. RJ Harvey, I think is interesting. We did get the flip, and you can always get flipped back from Sean, but 70% of backfield touches, more importantly, ran 26 routes to Tyler Baday's 4 this past week. And so if you do get involved on the Packers side of the ball, I think my favorite play coming back would be RJ Harvey again to flip the build for a mid-priced running back.
Tell me I don't have to play Kenneth Walker for the 4th time this week.
Oh, no, you don't have to. No,
you don't have to.
They're not going to run well. No,
he always lands on my best lineup and is the worst player on my best lineup every single week, and I can't stop clicking on his name. But he sets up. He's a 14-point favorite at home, which there's like 3 or 4 teams like that, right? 14-point favorite at home. We talked about what? Oh God, the Jaguars are 14-point home favorites. There's another.
You know who Kenneth Walker is? He's running back Zay Flowers.
Oh boy, you couldn't say that three weeks ago. I would have stopped playing him if you just told me that 3 weeks ago. Oh my gosh, you're right. That's a great call.
He's gonna get you those 9 points.
Don't forget to mention Donovan Taylor, who's like the only thing. Well, they're gonna try to hand the ball to him a ton. But good luck.
I feel bad for Jonathan Taylor gamers because you got here on such like a historic ride and like it feels like it's just gonna fizzle out.
Oh, it doesn't feel that way. It definitely is.
He has one RB1 scoring week over the past 5 games already. Like, and you can't complain because he had so many haymakers early on. But go on the road in Seattle, like, oh my god.
Yeah, Robin Williams is going to give him a hug. It's not Jonathan Taylor's fault. There's nothing.
It's not.
No.
All right. Receivers. Daigle, what do you got?
We can bat it around again because I really don't have many. We kind of talked about a lot of the guys I'm going to get involved in on this slate, but Terry McLaurin, start off with, targeted on 34% of his routes since returning from injury, and the Ravens and the Giants, his opponent, are the only teams allowing over 80 yards per game to wide receiver ones. Rich kind of touched on Juwan Jennings a bit because that was kind of my pick from that game. If you play him with Purdy and Kittle, no cheapies though, really, Rich. Do you have any like outside of the large field guys I mentioned?
No, not like. Oh, I do have one real gross one. But
is it grosser than Kyle?
No, it's a blast in the past. But I like Terry McLaurin. I like the mid. There's a lot of guys in that mid range. You got Terry McLaurin. Oh, well, does Slayton count? Because I think Slayton's a really solid play too.
You're taking Slayton? That's the
well,
he's lived long enough to become the villain.
So yep. So with Jackson Dart and Darius Slayton on the field, Wando Robinson averages 0.83 yards per out run, 4.6 air yards per target. Remember, his 2 highest scoring games came with non-Jackson Dart quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson game and then the Jameis game. He's actually 3rd in receiving yards on those snaps. Theo Johnson is 2nd. Slayton leads the team in receiving yards. He has just a 2% target share lower than Wando on those plays. He's also been a wide receiver 3 or better in each of the past 3 games he's played with Dart. So like if there's gonna be a huge disparity in ownership, and it could just be Sims because the Sims always love Wandale too. Like that might not be his actual ownership from Wednesday till now, but I know he is popping and stuff. So yeah, I think he's in play, especially if you're already playing Dart. So, and then I had McLaurin on my list too. So like you got a bunch of just core like flexible guys in that range.
Wandale is the only guy that made my threshold as far as 75% receiver.
He always sims well, though, because of the targets.
And I don't mind Wandale here, too. I think you can make a bull case for him, too. So, like, I would say, like, you find a way to do some kind of doubles if you're doing Dart, whether that be Theo or would that be both just receivers.
That was FanDuel, by the way, 2nd most popular receiver for me on DK.
And you never want to play him on FanDuel. Like, what?
Well, yeah, you want touchdowns. 5. He's just 5'8". He's cheap. He kind of makes stuff work. He's the player you roster, so you get the guys you actually want. That kind of thing. Nico Collins, for what it's worth, is the guy hitting the most lineups that I've ran so far.
I had Nico on my list too because I had Stroud, but
you want to add anything to Nico Collins? What about Ted?
Yeah.
Is Ted
they just been crushed, man. Arizona, like it's the same thing, right? Like they have allowed 15 yards per catch to wide receivers over the past 5 weeks, 5 touchdowns. You saw Puka crush him, JSN, crushed him. It's like, yeah. So Collins has been pretty hot too. Just hasn't been getting the touchdowns, so the targets have been there. So yeah, I mean, I like that spot but he's a fair price too for like a guy that has ceiling that we haven't seen completely on display, but like 6'7" is pretty solid. Sorry to the kids that are going to meme
the thing, Rich.
I did not do the thing.
Daigle, what do you got?
No, I honestly, we've kind of talked about everyone I think is in my pool. I think I'm more interested in, again, getting down to one or two mid-priced running backs and playing within my stack. So that's it for me for wide receivers for my pool.
Did you leave anybody, Rich, or shall we talk?
Yeah, Daigle brought up Shuck. Chris Olave believes definitely in play. He's been targeted on 29% of his routes against cover 3 with Tyler Shuck. We know it's Carolina static cover 3 team, 3rd in the NFL on that. So like you got there's your stacking partner for there. Carolina is also 26th in points allowed to wide receiver ones, 28th in yards for target those receivers. He did have a big game against them the first game too. So you're kind of, if you feel like it's box score chasing, but if you're playing Shuck, he would be kind of the play. And I did say I had one gross one. If we're going to run those 49ers Millie Maker lineups, Shamiri DK is back on the table, baby. He's the only play. I mean, he has 4 top 20 scoring weeks over his past 6 games. He plays 70% of his snaps in the slot. 49ers 31st in yards per target allowed to slot receivers, 28th in touchdown rate allowed to slot receivers. 45% of all receptions they've allowed to wide receivers have gone to slot receivers. That's the second highest rate in the league. We've got a pretty gross Millie Maker right there that everyone's going to dupe.
Do you think Ayamanor is also in play if you're running the same sort of thought process?
So Ayamanor literally either scores a touchdown or he does nothing else. Okay. He hasn't earned targets. He doesn't do any, like
he's just cheaper. Like, not that DK is not cheap, but he's 4.3 DK and 3.5 Ayamanor if you're really desperate for salary.
You ain't running no punts back with Ayamanor.
All right. Tight ends. I don't like what's being spit out as far as you guys always want to know who's like being spit out as far as what depends. Go ahead.
Can I give you, we've talked about Kyle Williams, Isaac Tesla, Shamir DK. Can I just put the cherry on top of the ugliest Millie Maker lineup you'll ever see?
Go for it.
As of today, at least, Mason Taylor, DMP with a neck injury. Stone Smart, DMP with a concussion. Jaguars allowing the second most yards per game to tight ends, or second most targets per game to tight ends. Brady Cook comes off the bench, targets tight ends at the 33% target rate, and Jeremy Ruckert at Stone Mendine is the last man standing. So, Jeremy Ruckert, if you want to fill out those Millie lineups and win nothing.
He's got a pretty sweet mustache. I didn't know who this guy was. His comparable play, according to Player Profiler, get excited, Luke Stocker. that is his player. Former Packer, I believe, Luke Stocker.
He was a really good athlete, 7th round pick, I think it was, that has amounted to absolutely nothing. But again, he did get targets because Brady Cook can't throw the ball anywhere else.
3rd round pick in 2022, Jeremy Ruckert. I wasn't aware of his.
Brady Cook is the sole reason why people think Luther Burden is a slot receiver.
So the floor, we're starting at Jeremy Ruckert.
No, we don't. I mean, I guess we did have to start there, yeah. But you should go to the good place now. I'm just saying, he is Stoneman.
Yeah, if you need a 2.5 tight end, and that's under the assumption that Mason Taylor doesn't play.
Absolutely,
yeah,
correct, yeah.
We don't know how that's going to play out.
Much like Davis Mills, that was a smash cash game play. This is under the assumption that Mason Taylor's out.
All right, Rich, we're going to play ping pong. Now you're up.
And now that I think about it, all of us have been on this show for all my annual Friendsgiving and then show up to the show a little buzzed, a lot of buzzed. And the 2 times I messed it up I didn't mess it up, was one, Rex Burkhead, who played for the Texans that year. He was my call at like stone minimum that scored a touchdown that season. And then Davis Mills a couple weeks ago. So it's something with the Texans that I just can't get right after Malort.
Shout out Rex Burkhead if he's out there listening someplace.
Yeah.
Rich, who's on your list for tight end?
Well, we did what? We talked about Kittle. We talked about Theo in passing, who I think is solid too. You keep playing Harold Fannin.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's your one Bears-Brown shout out.
Yeah, and last week played a lot of Harold Fannin. That worked out too. So you're probably, it feels like chasing. But David Njoku also got hurt last week. And he had already shadow roamed David Njoku, but just another kind of push for more targets, though. Bears have been really vulnerable to tight ends as well. And then to complete the Tyler Shuck triumvirate, Juwan Johnson.
There it is.
Yep. Carolina's 29th in points allowed per target to tight ends, 30th in yards per target. When these teams last played, he had 92 yards and a touchdown. Really weirdly, though, he did not run a lot of routes last week. I don't know if that was because of the weather. They ran a lot more 12 personnel, which I don't know if it was just because of the weather or not, and he wasn't on the field as much, but it could have just been a one-off. But that's the one thing that I just wrote as a note to keep tabs on for this week. He still had 20% of team targets and over 2 yards per route run, but he only did run 14 of the routes. But there's kind of an outlier for his usage, but
I do think Kellen Moore is the coach type of coach who adjusts for the opposing defense.
And the weather was shit in that game.
Like that's a couple weeks ago whenever Taysom Hill didn't play at all and Devin Neal got all the carries, even though Devin Neal is still getting all the carries. Kellen Moore even said it's because like they couldn't run between the tackles, and so Taysom Hill would not have helped the game at all. I think he's a very intelligent coach doing the best with what he can.
Chat's telling us that Nick Muse was signed on the practice squad to the Jets.
Mean, he's probably the same as Jeremy Ruckert, but at least Ruckert already played with Brady Cook.
So they brought Adrian Martinez back too, who they had in the summer.
That's UFL MVP, Adrian Martinez.
Maybe that's a tea leaf to suggest Taylor is not going to play. I don't know. I just
we were kicking around too. So Justin Fields was inactive with the knee injury last week, but there was also like this report going around that like they wanted him to be a Wildcat quarterback. And he told them no.
Yeah.
Like that, like he said he didn't want to get hurt. Like he said coming in off cold, but then he was inactive. So they had to go to Brady Cook. That's why, but they said he was a knee injury and he didn't practice today. So maybe, who knows, like really what's going on. But there was like them bringing in Adrian Martinez, like granted backups too for Tyrod and Fields if they can't go, but they could also do some of that stuff with him, like where he comes in and runs around.
Adrian Martinez, 25 years old. He was the CFL MVP, you said, or what was not CFL? UFL. I got my league.
He was really good too. Now he was playing against Luis Perez, who was in every UFL spinoff since the last 5 years. But
that's the guy you made me watch.
That's the guy for the Renegades. I made you watch with Bob Stoots coaching him.
It's tricky as far as spending up. We were playing McBride every single week. Obviously he's priced up now in the matchup against Houston. Houston's just, the defense is so daunting. Bowers against Philly doesn't look amazing. We love Kittle. Kelsey, like his career might have ended last week on the field. I don't know. It's two of the worst plays back-to-back to end that game, essentially.
And you noticed we did not talk about new Jerry Rice. Well, we didn't talk about new Jerry Rice either.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, Wilson, yeah. Are we still playing Wilson, or is it he's 6'6" now?
No, you can. I think this is a week. Yeah, I mean, you go. I think in your season long stuff, and so you keep you just play a guy that gets 30% of the targets.
Yep.
But I think at this price, but maybe if he comes in super low, and we'll revisit this because I'm going to play some Stroud stuff. So maybe he's a bring back. But at his price, I think this is the spot. You kind of say like maybe we don't get the ceiling run out.
By the way, you said new Jerry Rice. I thought you meant JSN. We didn't talk about him.
Oh yeah, new Jerry Rice. Well, yeah, JSN.
Actual new Jerry Rice.
I always just joke because everyone sends out the memes of Michael Wilson. It's always the picture of Jerry Rice.
Yeah, why did we not talk about Jay? I mean, they're going to be a huge favorite, and they're probably going to run the ball.
I think we were just trying to avoid
yeah, and I mean
the rabbit hole of that game in general.
You're going to get. We talk about them every week. You're going to get 40 pass attempts. You're getting the Texans, who now, after last week's performance with the Bengals over the Bills, it's the Texans defense that's allowing the fewest points per game, passing points per game in fantasy. They've been dogs the last month since they've got healthy in their front seven. So it's just
Paris Johnson's out for that game.
Oof, it's the toughest matchup possible. Like it's a game where if Jacoby Brissett fails, this is the one absolutely he fails in.
So Aaron brings up Sanat in chats. I mean, are we trying to make that happen? Obviously, devastating injury to Zach Ertz. Maybe that ends his career. It's a tough scene for him.
Yeah.
Is he going to get an opportunity? I know there's been times in the past where it felt like this is the time where he gets a chance, and he hasn't really been given a great chance, or maybe he hasn't taken advantage of it. Maybe I'm misremembering. Is he a guy that's going to get an opportunity? At least I assume he's 2.5. I have not checked the salaries on him.
He has to be 2.5, right?
I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 2.7. How is he 2.7?
Too expensive. Jeremy, just save the $200 with Jeremy Ruckert.
He's 2.5 all season. He just got bumped up to 2.7.
If you play Mariota, you want to get into like the cheap stacks. That's fine. I don't care. Whatever. I'm never going to push back against someone stone bin tight end if they have a lean.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you just try to sell us on. I already forgot the guy's name.
Jeremy Rucker. Athlete Jeremy Rucker. Well, to be fair, Ben Sinnott was also an athlete, but he was a fullback.
Yeah, Ben Sinnott is he was a good athlete.
Yeah, but he was drafted as a fullback.
And that's my thing. So I saw a lot of people try to compare this to the Trey McBride thing, who because of the Cliff Kingsbury Zach Ertz injury, the second round pick, Cliff Kingsbury offense, Zach Ertz goes down to the ACL. This guy's going to play, but the problem is Sinnott doesn't play tight end. Like that's the problem.
He didn't play tight end at the Senior Bowl. He's never played tight. Yeah, he just doesn't play it.
Okay,
he's just kind of a no man. I have no problem though. Like Daigle said, like if you want to punt with a tight end, like you have a dude, go for it.
It's like Luke McCaffrey. There's a universe where he's a really good player that we're starting in fantasy. Again, I don't know if it's this universe.
So the players in double digits as far as tight ends that I'm getting right now: Kittle in no particular order. Kittle, Andrews, Theo Johnson, Fannin, and the most popular guy, AJ Barner. Is that good?
Oh,
AJ Barner?
Assuming Elijah Arroyo's out.
Yeah, his routes didn't change after Arroyo left last week, but I don't have any problem with it either. If he's
whatever.
We are assuming Arroyo's out.
I think I'd still spend cheaper than AJ Barner, but I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, because the run out for AJ Barner is just so thin. Like,
yeah,
he's got the one high target game, but that's the game that they were losing. Okay, so. And then we already talked about good tight ends too. We did talk about the Ravens guys. We talked about Kincaid.
Yeah, they'll get you an occasional run too. Speaking of the tush push, he's one of those guys that's involved in that sometimes. So
this is why you need to stop playing Kenneth Walker because AJ Barner.
Yeah, you gotta get off Kenneth Walker.
And when AJ Barner is the reason why you're not being a good fantasy player, maybe it's not good. I don't know. But all right. Anything else as far as week 15? Let's give the people our favorites.
Loaded slate, man.
It's a lot, man. There's a lot going on. I think you're going to be able to get your lineups this week. Hopefully, get a couple cheapies that pop up throughout the week. But there is some cheapies we also mentioned that are in play. Before we segue to our movie, Rich, give the people on a Wednesday night who is your favorite stack. You want to go game stack? You want to go onslaught? However you want to answer that question. A mini. What's popping for you?
Purdy doubles are my favorite, and then out of the popular way, I think golf doubles are the chalk game.
Daigle?
Yeah, I don't hate golf. I'm still going to try to maneuver around Stafford quads and see what I can do there. That probably means not getting up to Gibbs and having to play JMO instead, which I don't hate. But again, I'm gonna maneuver. I'm gonna navigate that Rams-Lions game as much as possible with 6 or 7 players, and then from there see where the week leaves me with the cheap options.
All right, hour 35 minutes of week 15. We do appreciate y'all listening. If you don't want to hear us talk about Troll 2, and I would understand. I would understand if you don't. But
you want to stay.
You want to stay.
Honestly, I would turn this off right now and go watch Troll 2, and then come back for this.
I can't be good conscious recommending watching it.
It's so special that there's not only like how did this get made, which I listened to, did a podcast on it, but there's another documentary made over how special this movie is.
You know what? You're right. It's gonna be fun.
It's called The Worst Best Movie. That gives you hints of what
not
Troll
a damn troll in the movie.
Actually, the furthest thing from a troll being in a movie.
No Dynamite either.
And not a sequel to Troll 1 either.
It's like Leonard Part 6. All right, let's do it. Let's go ahead. Let's segue. Let's go ahead and bring in TJ, producer TJ, as well as Rob Coakley. Again, if you're done with football, appreciate y'all tuning in. Come back for week 16. Go win something.
TJ, by the way, someone named Saskatoon, because of course the only person that wants to hear from you, he wants a Spidey bomb. Do you have like an early Wednesday Spidey bomb for Saskatoon, your fellow Canadian?
So this guy's not from Saskatoon. This is so J3 in chat. This is just Dean's biggest fan, and I'm not sure either myself or Tim Tasteful Tides are his number 2. But he swapped his name instead of just from J3 to J3 Saskatoon because every single time Dean introduces me on his show, he says, and honestly, I kind of take this as an insult. He says one of the best DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. The best, absolute best in this city. And so
I'm being presumptuous. If I say best, that's a little presumptuous. There's somebody out there we're not aware of. Probably it's,
I don't know how many people are in Saskatoon.
There's 300,000 people, but
Oh wow, that's bigger than I thought.
There's no one. There's no one.
You never know, TJ.
No one around doing it like me.
You would think that Eric Beimfor is the best ball player from his town, but someone that he played high school football with won the DK Millie a couple years ago. So
that's what I mean, though. I would know if there was somebody else in the city doing that.
All right. Rob Coakley, of course, you know him from Hometown Ghost Stories and hanging out with Chris Jericho. You would not have done this to Chris Jericho officially. Just get this. You would not have made Chris Jericho watch Troll 2. I'll just say that.
I would love to talk to Chris Jericho about Troll 2.
I would make him watch Troll 2. Yeah.
Rob, yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation talking about Troll 2. And not to be confused with, I guess, is there a remake that's on Netflix right now for Troll 2?
It's not a remake.
It's not a remake. It has nothing to do, like this movie, with trolls at all.
Yeah.
Okay, because I did see. I watched the right one, the original one. I should go ahead and tell you guys about it. Troll 2, PG-13, from the year 1990. The synopsis: when young Joshua learns that he will be going on vacation with his family to a small town called Nilbog, he protests adamantly. He is warned by the spirit of his deceased grandfather that goblins populate the town. His parents, Michael and Diana, dismiss his apprehensions, but soon learn to appreciate their son's warnings. Guided by his grandfather's ghost, will Joshua and his family stand a chance in fighting off these evil beings? Rob, why? I guess we should start with why did you choose violence, Rob? Why did you choose violence? Why did you pick Troll 2?
I feel like this show is about experiencing all of what cinema has to offer. And
it's a loose interpretation, a liberal interpretation of cinema. But continue.
I felt lately we were skewing too much to one side of the Rotten Tomatoes scale, and I felt we had to balance that out just a little bit.
That's fair.
So to be clear, the side that you thought we were skewing too much toward was good.
No, I'm not the one who was making that assessment. I would much rather watch Troll 2 than a lot of the movies we watched recently.
K-pop Demon Hunters, catching some shade.
Yes. So
that's genuinely, like, after watching this movie, you're genuinely an insane person.
This movie is awesome, TJ.
Which I did know before watching Troll 2, but it really just cemented it in my mind that you're nuts.
See, I knew that TJ has not experienced this side of cinema before, and I knew he needed to
I'm sorry, I like to watch good movies.
You watched a good movie. This movie is overly memorable. This is the most quotable movie we've watched all year.
Well, it's memorable for the wrong reasons, I think, but it is memorable. I'll give you that. Memorable. Just be memorable. Doesn't matter what, Jeffrey Dahmer is memorable, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing.
TJ, someone turned into a tree that wasn't in a Marvel movie in this movie.
Sure.
Some are saying that Marvel stole their ideas from this movie.
People are saying. The thing is, TJ likes everything, and we might have found actually a movie he did not like. It seems like.
What's the setup beyond that, Rob? Like, what do we?
You've seen this before, I assume.
Me?
Yeah.
I might have seen this movie
multiple times. Yeah.
This is the movie that Rob throws on before bed when he's like kind of tired, not really feeling like going to sleep yet. I just need something light. It's time to watch some Troll 2.
What are the fun facts we need to know from Troll 2?
Does Rob have them? I assume Rob has.
Yeah. Also, you would never, if you
he has them tattooed on his shoulder.
If you said this movie was made in 1990 and you watched it, I would not believe you.
It definitely is early 80s vibe for sure.
Well, there was a scene in the movie where they were
many scenes.
There's a lot of scenes where there's a lot of explaining going on, and you're asking a lot of questions. But there was one where they were in the Winnebago, and this guy's watching. They had an advanced Winnebago for 1990, but I don't think the technology then. Maybe it had to be rich, but they were watching like a TV VCR combination. Yeah. But also, I guess somehow this woman that was outside the Winnebago was on the TV. I know that happened in Scream, but that's a different scenario. There was better technology in Scream, and they were on delay. But is that something they had in 1990?
The audio. Oh, that's a good. The audio was also on the TV, like in mono or in stereo. And then he opened up the trailer, and the music was happening in real life, like in the scene. I was very, among a lot of things in this movie, I was very confused.
The popcorn, by the way, Rob.
Amazing. What a scene.
This is
What was the
cinema.
obsession with corn? And then what was the green stuff on the corn?
Amazing.
So
I have so many questions.
Yeah, we gotta start from the beginning here with Rob.
Yeah, Rob.
Daigle, did you watch the documentary yet?
Yes, yeah, I've listened to the podcast and I watched the documentary.
The documentary is just as fascinating as the movie.
What's the documentary?
I want to watch that actually.
It's called The Best Worst Movie, and it just goes over like the history of this movie, and it's actually sort of uncomfortable to watch in certain spots of it, like just watching some of the interactions these people are having. But one of the great things is this movie was written by an Italian woman, and her husband directed it. And she wrote this movie because she was sick of all of her friends becoming vegetarians.
Yep.
So that's literally the reason she wrote this movie.
Yep.
Which is insane. And my favorite thing about this entire movie is while they were shooting it, a lot of the teenagers were going up to the director and saying, "Can we change some of these lines and do it like American teenagers would do it?" And the director just went, "No, I know how American teenagers talk." It's like this 50-year-old Italian director who wouldn't let them change any of the lines. And not that it would have mattered too much, I don't think. But
he didn't speak English. Right? His English was really bad.
Yeah, correct. He couldn't speak English at all. But then we would lose lines like, my dad's going to be so mad, he's going to bite off your nuts and eat them. Like what a great line.
I do want to do like favorite lines in this movie because that's certainly on the podium or in the conversation of. I
don't understand what TJ hated about this movie. I mean, maybe we can go into what was actually bad about it. What was not enjoyable
bad about this movie?
The worst part was probably like I spent a good 2-3 minutes trying to discern if there was an option on Tubi where you could watch this at like 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x speed. Because that's what I was trying to do after about 20 minutes of it. And I found out not an option. And I had to actually go through the whole thing. So that was quite disappointing.
You got to get Tubi Premium.
I had a headache spawn at the beginning of the row your boat scene. And it just subsided like maybe 12, 15 minutes ago. It was just like real pulsating, pounding, like right here. It was. So it's interesting because I was gonna say it might be the worst movie I've ever watched, but then I was thinking like, well, at least there were parts of this where it was like silly funny, so I didn't like it, but I wasn't bored. But then I also and there's lots of movies that is just like you're bored the entire time. This wasn't necessarily that because I wasn't bored, but there were just so many times that it was like. I was feeling like literal pain in my body, spirit, and mind watching the movie. And I don't know that I've felt that in a movie before where it was like, how is this affecting me physically? That I am so filled with hatred for Rob right now.
Maybe
putting me through this. It's the longest hour and a half of my life.
Maybe the bit should be to just watch movies that we know TG will hate moving forward.
Yeah.
That seems to be really enjoyable, actually.
I'm enjoying watching him squirm a little bit, I got to say. And you didn't mention the setup for Row Your Boat. The setup was the kid was freaking out, and somebody says, "Hey, sing that song I really love." An adult said this.
I love that it's row your boat.
And like, there's not one adult. There's like, 7-8 billion people in the world. Not one adult loves row your boat. Like, not one.
Listen, the mom in that movie is like a top 10 like unhinged character ever created.
I think she's insane in real life too. If you watch the documentary.
Oh, really? Oh, dude. Yeah, like
it's so I feel like this is a great movie to watch Mystery Science 3000 style, and I watch it by myself. So if I'm watching with somebody else. And maybe with some performance enhancers, whatever you do, whatever works for you, I imagine would be the optimal way to do it. I watched that by myself, totally sober, and I still enjoyed it and also hated it. And I guess that's the point. In some ways, I don't know. I had so many questions along the way.
Didn't we all?
Why? So the girl was giving the ultimatum to the boyfriend, saying, "You have to drop all your." Why can't he have friends? He's not allowed to see his friends. And
because he was trying to bring his friends everywhere. He was the worst.
Okay, but like the way I understood it, she was just saying that she has to cut him out of his life entirely. Like she was basically saying that, and then all the friends are like road tripping to Nilbog, population 28.
Where they didn't know where they were going. They're ahead of them in the Winnebago.
I want to know when we are swapping vacations. Like, Dean, when are you just coming to live here and I live at your house?
Also, you didn't even mention when we were introduced to her character, the mom opened the bedroom door, and it's basically like an 80s slow-mo workout training session where she has a bench press in the middle of her room, and she's wearing her leotards, and just like lifting a lot.
I thought this movie was from 1980, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, the leotard. And then 1991, the leotard was like that was not worn in 1991. I'm fairly
Again,
sure.
she has a bench press in the middle of her room. That's the focus here, with the synth music playing. By the way, the music in this movie also is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, because
they couldn't get Trent Reznor to do it. Unfortunately, the music, it's like none of the music made sense with the visuals. Like
not until the very last scene. You're like, oh, finally they're doing the right type of music for this.
Was that intentional? Like, were the actors, and I'm not joking, were they told to act terribly? Because I was the whole time I was trying to figure out who is the worst actor in this movie, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be the kid. And I'm like, oh, it's the daughter, kid. And maybe it's the mom. The daughter is terrible. They're all worse than the next. Who was the worst actor in this movie, and was that intentional, Rob? Were they told to act terribly?
No. Do you know? Oh, so you guys don't know a lot about this movie, so
no, Rob, we don't.
Almost all of the actors,
for like $12, like you expected everybody.
Almost all of the actors in this movie showed up looking to be extras.
Okay,
and they were just like, "You're this main character. You're this main character," and so this is all them acting. We've skipped past one of the best lines of the movie. That happens right in the beginning, right after we find out that the grandfather is a ghost.
Rob Reiner.
And the mother walks in the room and she's like, "We all miss Grandpa Seth. He died 6 months ago, but you have to banish him from your mind."
Yeah.
As you tell any kid that just lost a grandparent.
So I assumed, Rob, maybe you tell me I'm wrong. I assumed that happened in 1. Did that not happen in 1?
Dude, nobody's seen Troll 1. We just watched Troll 2.
I was like, oh, okay, that's what. Thank you. I thought that was their way of like catching us up on Troll 1. Okay, I missed it, but now I know. Okay, now I know where.
No, so it's called Troll 2. So the movie was originally called Goblins, but the distributor was like, "This movie's never going to sell," so they just decided to change it to Troll 2 to go as a sequel to Troll 1. There's not a troll in the movie. There's literally not one troll in this movie. It's all goblins. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And as Lil Wayne would say, what's a troll to a goblin?
I mean, there's no way though. Like, part of my lexicon won't just be "you can't piss on hospitality." Like, there's just no way. Like, for the rest of my life, that's like.
I thought the dad was gonna piss on his daughter there. I was so worried. He said, "You don't piss on hospitality," and then he walks forward a couple steps and starts undoing his belt. And I was so terrified about what was about to happen. I was like, "What on earth did Rob choose for us?"
And then something even more insane happens.
Yeah, he just tightens the belt, and that's it.
Yeah, to quell the hunger.
to stop the hunger pains, of course.
To stop the hunger pains.
Because remember, the dad has been through more hunger strikes than the kid.
But I love it. They're like, "You have 30 seconds to stop your family from eating everything." And he's like, "You know what I should do? I just got pissed on everything."
Everything, you got to.
You can't piss on hospitality. I'm going to work into my everyday life.
Oh, dude, it's in. It's in forever.
Yeah.
Did the movie The Holiday get their idea from Troll 2? Remember how Jack Black was switching houses with like Jude Law and Cameron Diaz?
I assume most of the movies have gotten their ideas from Troll 2 at this point.
I don't know if you knew this, Dean, but The Princess Bride actually got its idea to do the whole grandfather telling a story thing from Troll 2.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. That doesn't check out, right? Princess Bride is before Troll 2. Yeah. You're making a joke?
Yeah. Yes, I'm making a joke.
Yes. Should I have been proud of myself that I figured out that Nilbon was Goblin before the characters did?
I was gonna ask if anyone saw it because I didn't think about it, but honestly, I wasn't thinking too hard about this movie, and so at the reveal, I know it's supposed to be like some monumental moment, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, I said to myself, Nilbon, what are we? And I go, is it something backwards? And then I figured it out, and I was kind of proud of myself. And then the other part of it is, now, Rob, I guess supposedly this town is doing this in secret, right? And like, do they think nobody can crack the code? Like nobody else. People are disappearing in this mysterious town, Nilbog. Well,
also, aren't they? They're going on vacation to like work on some farm or something. Where was the farm? Like,
no.
It was over there. It's just down there. That's what they said.
The whole premise, the setup is amazing. It's like
there's someone we haven't even talked about the goblins yet and how great those costume designs are.
Great is one word.
Correct me if I'm
that's
wrong.
A word.
Population 26, is that what they said? The 26 people population?
Yeah.
So like population 26, and they go to the general store, and there's like just 10 dudes are hanging. So 40% of the population is just hanging out at the general store, like just milling around.
The general store.
That it just sells milk, I guess, and nothing else.
Goblin milk. Milk.
Yeah, sure. I was doing
that's the kind you don't refrigerate. You just throw it up on the shelf, and it's fine. Don't worry about it. The shopkeeper is one of my favorite characters in the entire movie. When he's asking
devil's drink. Devil's drink.
That's the devil's drink.
Every time I see people drink coffee, I'm gonna do that now too.
Was anybody paid? Like it was $100,000 budget, and obviously those goblin outfits weren't amazing, but they cost some money. You got to
buy. The witch was clocking in. She was doing work. She came. She came to get more gigs.
Did anybody work out? Probably a post. Does anybody actually like have a career? Nobody, right? This is a one-off, one and done.
I think some of them did some minor acting after, but like the dad was in dentist school. He became a dentist. Like that's what he did.
Great actor.
Okay.
This movie. Dad is one of my favorite characters in this movie.
We don't get movies like this a lot anymore. Like these are clearly.
Thank God.
No, not God. Wait till I get you a Neil Breen movie in the future. That's about the only guy doing that at this point in time. We need these movies, man. Like these movies, they're so much fun to watch with your friends. They are like the one thing I haven't done with this movie is go and see it in the theater.
That's probably a fun experience. I would agree.
One of my favorite theater experiences of all time is going to see The Room in a theater. It is more fun than any movie you will ever see in your life in a theater. This stuff, like this movie accomplishes doing everything wrong. Like their cinematography is bad, the soundtrack is bad, the acting is bad.
There's no editing. Like when people walk somewhere, they just watch them walk the whole way.
Yeah, you watch that dude warm up. The dude warm up for his run for 5 minutes. Stuff doesn't make sense. When this dude sees a beautiful girl, he just chases her through the woods and tackles her until the goblins show up.
Dude, no, the best part of the scene is he just like walks up to the goblins. You assume he's never seen real goblins before, but he just like kind of walks up and he's like, "Yo, guys, y'all gotta get out of here." Like, it's like
it's one goblin.
It's the most unhinged shit. Well, you guys gotta get stepping.
A lot of the masks were ugly, but the googly-eyed goblin stuck with me forever. That's the only mask that really stood out.
You'll never forget it.
Never. Because it was horrifying.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe Rob, you can answer this. The guy was like running to or walking to the general store. Remember that?
Yeah.
Why didn't he just drive the camper to the general store? I don't what did I miss there? Why did he feel he didn't know how far away it was? He just like, I'm just gonna go that way and eventually I'll run into it.
It was offset that day.
Yeah, they were just
why would he walk when he's got the camper? He has the vehicle.
He liked to run. He was warming up, Dean. Why are you asking so many questions? He got the green sandwich. It's all good.
Well, he didn't know he didn't know he was getting a green sandwich. He didn't know he was gonna run to the sheriff.
Imagine eating that sandwich if someone handed it to you.
Also, dude, like the watching this, these kids, Rob told me they're not even actors. They just try to be extras. Like the stuff they put all these things, like so many people are covered in like green slime, like just going through it, man. Like the one dude that's like the tree, like I assume that like they like had like all that stuff on that dude, and like he's trying to act through it.
Like
Like
it was like 12 hours of makeup to put that on him.
Oh my gosh.
unbelievable.
And
Oh,
then
dude.
he was complaining, so that's why they put the mouthpiece thing in him, because he was complaining.
Well, he
The,
wasn't getting paid.
the unintentionally slow guy stretching and then pulling the pot out of the door got a really good laugh from me because they spent way too much time moving that pot for a scene.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's amazing.
That part's good. The part where they go and meet the witch for the first time and she drinks the thing and she's dying, and she's like, you still just got to drink yours, and he just does it.
Was he not there 3 seconds ago?
Yeah, did you not see what happened? And then he hits one of the most iconic lines in cinema history with the, "Oh my God, they're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God."
I also like too. We're gonna kill you violently. I like that one too.
But he just walked into the house, and like the lady, like, I guess she was obviously happy to see them, but like, you know, you have random people just walk in your house. She took no issue with it. Again, I guess that was part of the plan, but they were on the run. You remember this? Like the house looked like a church, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't even talked about how the grandfather's ghost just is a ghost of convenience with powers. Like he gets to do a power like once every one in a while, then he never does that power again.
He threw lightning at one point.
This was only an hour and a half movie, by the way. There's so much here.
What tight end is the grandfather?
It was the longest movie I've ever watched in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Also, there was the cliffhanger. Was there a Troll 3? I want to know what happens now. Now they wrote me in. What happened in that shower? I think
Unfortunately, Dean, there's not a Troll 3, but if I win, we are going to watch Troll 2 again.
The same movie.
Just keep watching the same movie.
Also, was it explained why popcorn was popped in the Winnebago? Did I miss that?
So much popcorn off of one.
There was a lot of
Off
popcorn.
of one corn cob.
It's just they just needed that sexy scene. You got to spice it up a little bit every
It
now and
was.
again.
It was a lot of sex popcorn.
That was so weird. That was a scene in a movie.
It was a scene.
I saw this movie at 6 years old on HBO multiple times.
That was a hit different.
I mean, all you see is her leg. Like she shows lace in her
so
leg.
much.
Well, the last scene as a kid was actually creepy. Like when you're a child and you're watching that scene, he's like creeping through the house and then sees his mom getting devoured like on the kitchen table. That scene actually, as a child, creeped me out, and that's the only scene like I remembered for years from this movie.
How many days is this film, Rob? I feel like this was like a really quick. Like there's like one scene. All right, we got it. We got to
I
move.
think it was 3 weeks if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong.
Under in 3 weeks.
Well, it takes a while for perfection, Dean.
Yes. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? We're all over the place, but
I mean, I think we covered it quite well, though.
We didn't even talk about how it's Stonehenge related and all that other. There's so much to talk about, but we can't get to all of it. We just don't have enough time.
It's just too good.
I hope none of you guys accidentally saw the IMDb or Rotten Tomato scores.
No.
This can make for a fun game.
No, it's to be opposite. It's my opposite of one battle or another. Like where there's two eyes, they're all be too low. They're all be too low.
So, Rich, you're going to go first. We're going to do the Rotten Tomato score. Give me both the review, the professional reviewers, the critics. We only have 24, by the way. 24 critics dared review this, and over 10,000 for the popcorn meter. 10,000 civilians, but only 24 actual critics reviewed this. So, Rich, closest to, tell me both the critic score and the audience score on Troll 2.
Oh boy. 25% critics, 50% audience.
Daigle?
I'm going to say 13% critics, and I was going to say 45 audience. Rich, did Jenny watch this with you, or is she just out on her movies?
No,
Yeah.
she missed out.
She's just done.
I asked her on the weekend because I watched it today. And she wanted to watch it and waste weekend hours, and it was a hard pass.
And TJ, I believe you also you watched this solo. Your child was not subjected to this.
I'll tell you what, though, we're gonna watch it again.
TJ, what's your score?
12% critics, 40% audience.
I think we killed TJ. I think Troll 2
Just
finally did.
Just disheveled.
Troll 2 did it.
Rob, what do you think the critics gave this? The critic score and the audience score.
Sure, Dean. I'm going to go with 0% for critics and 7%.
Well, isn't there
the
like
audience?
something documented as like the worst Rotten Tomatoes score?
There are some zeros for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think it was this one, but
I'm reading some of the critics reviews. Troll 2 is an awful film, but it's just too silly and stupid not to love. Troll 2 is bad, very, very bad. The script is stupid. The acting is wooden. The special effects are laughable. The vintage 80s synthesizer score is cheesy. 1.5 star.
One of the reviews on Amazon is this is a movie, and that's the review. That's it.
I mean, it's not lying.
And honestly, that's a terrible review because I don't know you can call this a movie. This is something.
It's not a movie. It's not. It had credits and everything. So Daigle, you binked both numbers. It is 13%.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 13% critics, 45 audience. You nailed both.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's
I
incredible.
swear I hadn't seen it. That is incredible.
You won both Showcase Showdowns, so shout out to you. All right.
I played Mitchell Tinsley over Mike Jasicki, so I didn't bink our contest. I know that.
Everybody's got one particular set of one skill, right? This is your skill, I guess.
I know what people think about Troll 2.
Rob, get us started. 1 through 10. 1 through 10 IMDb.
God, 2-1.
Jeez. TJ.
1-7.
Daigle?
Dean really
what
enjoyed.
is we have to find out too. We did last time. We did
Is so bad.
Well, last time we did the show, Dean, you did the thing where like the highest IMDb movies. What are the lowest ones?
That's what I'm looking at now. As we go to Daigle.
Dean has not laughed during a movie review more than seeing TJ struggle to talk about it.
I am enjoying it.
He's loving this so much. I'm just gonna middle them and go 1-9.
What's the highest number we have? Rob, right? And Rob 2 something?
2-1, I think.
2-1 and 1-7 are the guesses, and 1-9 so far.
Rich?
By default, I'll say 2-2, but I think it's like probably like a 3.5 or a 4.
It is 3.0, and this is a fun list. 3.0, worst IMDb scores on the Google. 1.9 for disaster movie, which I think is like one of those kind of like scary movie spoofs.
Yeah.
I don't know what Manos, The Hands of Fate is.
Oh my God, we should watch Manos.
I don't want to give Rob any ideas.
They did that on Mystery Science Theater.
2010's Birdemic, Shock and Terror, 1.7.
Oh, Birdemic's bad.
Rob knows all these movies, by the way.
I've never even heard of that movie.
No.
Oh,
Birdemic.
I'm gonna send you a clip, Rich. Because
oh wait, hold on. It's going back. Okay, so 1.5 Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2 from 2004. Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas 2014.
Oh, we
got
should
1.1. It's Christmas season.
It is Christmas.
I mean, it is Christmas time.
It's Dean's pick this week, right?
I think we found it, dude.
I might make it audible and go to Kirk Cameron Saving.
Guess who stars in Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2?
John Voight.
John Voight is number
John
one on
Voight.
the billing.
Yeah,
As like a baby voice or as like an adult in the.
No, he's like the adult villain.
I've seen that.
Don't worry about it.
Wasn't
I've
Baby
seen-
Geniuses 2 like a smash at the box office?
I remember really liking Baby Geniuses as a kid.
I thought it was one of those popular kid movies like K-pop Demon Hunters.
Baby Geniuses is like the original Troll. Baby Genius 2 goes
Super
off.
Babies, Baby Geniuses 2 has a 0% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 25% audience rating.
A lot of people say Baby Jesus 2 was a lot like Troll 2.
If you like, then you'll love. The Hottie and the Naughty, by the way, starring Paris Hilton.
Yeah, no
2
way.
IMDb. So
Never watching that.
yeah. All right. So
Unless.
I think I floated it out there. I let you guys know that I was going to get us back on the rails. I did enjoy this conversation about Troll 2, but there are a lot of good movies out there that I want to watch that I haven't watched just yet. Paddington is not No, Eddington. Eddington's one of them. But on the Apple, we're getting F1. I've not seen that. I know that was spectacular in the theater, supposedly. I'm obviously can't watch in the theaters, but has anybody seen F1? Have you guys seen F1? Anybody seen it just yet?
No.
Nope.
I mean, that's kind of like what I was going to pick. The new Brad Pitt racing movie. I know it was considered to be good. I've heard good things. Probably looks better in the theater, but unfortunately, not IMAX. But do the best we can on our home TVs. But
You can come watch it at my house, Dean.
you got the IMAX theater at the house?
No, we got a nice setup though.
Oh, okay. All right, I'd be crashing on the couch if you got the old IMAX deal.
We will watch Troll 2 afterwards.
Is that the one that Silva keeps telling? No. Silva wants me to watch Ford versus Ferrari. He says it's good.
That's a good Ford.
That is good.
Ferrari's good. It is a
Yeah,
good movie.
That's what
Silva
yours is.
loves Ford versus Ferrari.
It's good. He's right.
Are we not giving scores?
We also need to do our scores for Troll 2.
Yes.
We cannot move on from Troll 2 just yet.
We definitely got to give our scores. TJ, I'll start with you since I know you're excited about it. Who's your least favorite superhero? I guess we're going to ask you. So who do you want to give a superhero score for Troll 2?
Superman.
I'll go with arguably the worst comic book character movie of all time, and something that this movie reminded me of.
Fantastic
And
Four. The new
I'm
one.
going to go with Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck's awesome. How fucking dare you?
That was one of the biggest ones in history. That probably put back those kind of movies for years because,
Yeah.
1985 or so it came out. I know it was like the 80s, and it was a mega disaster.
Yeah, I haven't seen the whole movie. I've only seen parts of it.
Why, Rob? Are you just being a contrarian, or are you actually a fan of Howard the Duck, the movie?
No, but it's fun because
Yeah.
there's duck boobs in it. So
Yeah, it's fun, crappy like this movie. Like it's so terrible that it's like, wow, that's kind of silly.
Leah Thompson and Tim Robbins. Okay, I didn't know that was the top two on the bill. Okay.
the bill. Get it?
Yeah. That just sort of worked out. Rob, I got to know 1 through 5. Where are you scoring Troll 2 1 through 5?
So this is a movie that if you were to score things individually, like if you were to score the acting, you would give it a 0. The cinematography is 0. The script is 0. The special effects is 0. The soundtrack is 0. But all that adds up to a 4. So.
Some of its parts.
Steiner math.
And that's on a 1 through 5 scale, just to be
1 through 5. This is a 4. This is
just
much better than a lot of the movies that we've watched. This is more rewatchable, more quotable, more enjoyable overall than a lot of the movies we watched this year.
Daigle, we need a wrestler.
When I think about Troll 2, I think about many things, but I think of bad gimmicks that will last in our minds forever. And so I think the one that failed the most, there are many in wrestling, but everyone knows about, Rob included, is when Dustin Rhodes, Gold Dust himself, decided to come up with a new character, and TBS shot it down immediately because it resembled Dark City, which was a popular show on their television. And the character was a levitating cult leader who kids followed. So much so that even in Dustin Rhodes' first entrance as his character, they did actually float him to the ring. It's kind of badass if you go look it up. But then he picks up a mic and immediately says, "Oh yeah, my name is Seven, by the way. And for those of you who don't know, I used to be Gold Dust. And that was the worst character ever." So I think this movie, Troll 2, is 7, which literally lasted one night before Dustin Rhodes killed it.
I've seen that promo before. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I like it. I like going down the promo rabbit hole, and he does not sell it. He does not seem to be into it.
No.
He shits all over it immediately. Rob, is 7? Is that what you were thinking? Do you approve? You always have to approve of Daigle's wrestling.
My thought process, I like it. I think that's a great answer. I, for some reason, thought Bastion Booger when I was thinking of Troll 2.
That was a good one. Also, like, in a weird way, Kerwin White, but that was a different time where Chavo Guerrero could run around saying white is right and no one batted an eye because he was defecting his Mexican heritage. Again, 90s wrestling is a weird, like a rabbit hole if you start going down it.
7's also a good number to choose because I would rather watch Ice Road Vengeance 7 consecutive times than have to watch the movie again.
Do you think our audience knows that John Daigle was in a Chris Jericho promo this week?
Daigle?
Maybe some of them. I don't know.
That's the one with Emo Cowboy?
You can go to Rob, what's your Twitter?
At King Coakley.
At King Coakley or at NotJDaigle. And because I retweeted it. And Rob recorded his Ghost Town Home Stories?
Hometown Ghost Stories.
Hometown Ghost Stories. Thank you. I always mix up that and Bonesaw Tomahawk for some reason. I can't get it. Hometown Ghost Stories, the podcast. He actually recorded one with Chris Jericho himself, and they shot a promo on me. It's on Twitter right now, which is great because I want Chris Jericho to call me a stupid idiot any chance he can get.
You want to make the list?
Hell yeah. I'd love to make the list every day.
I'm going to give this, and I struggled as well. I was doing the sum of the parts math like Rob, and I feel like it's much better to watch with an audience. I watched it by myself, but I see again, a movie is just terrible or enough when it's entertaining. And the worst thing a movie can be is boring, and it's not boring. It's bad, but it's good bad, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to give it this great score, but I'll put it in the middle. And I respect it for what it is, and under the right circumstances, I'm giving it. It's not good, so I'll say 49. I'm going to give it a 49 out of 100.
Hell yeah!
Again, at the optimal circumstance, like at a party, it's like a 70 probably. But it's
the best bad movies we've watched since Tiptoes for sure.
Yeah, it's not as good as Tiptoes.
No, nothing is. But it's the best one since Tiptoes for sure.
Rich, we need a tight end.
TJ left after 49.
I will say, when we do movies like this, the conversations are always way more fun.
Yeah, it's more interesting. Yeah.
We have more fun because we don't try to be like super reviewers or do anything. We just have fun. And yeah, so I thought it was cool. But yeah, this movie is, kind of a throwback to those kind of, is it good? Is it bad? Who cares? It's fun. Yeah. And so that for me is Ricky Seals-Jones, a tight end who, if he came back today, I would play him in DFS. Converted wide receiver.
Arizona?
Yeah, he played for Arizona and then the Washington football team.
It's an Aggie great.
And Cleveland and Kansas City.
Yeah, Cleveland, yep. But yeah. Huge dude, one of those athletic tight ends, converted wide receivers. You're interesting, but are you good?
TJ's turning into a troll. It's successful.
He's like the tree in the movie.
Give me some of that chlorophyll right now.
They stole Groot from this movie.
Also, we didn't mention when the witch chainsawed him, he got tickled. He got tickled, not hurt. He was laughing.
Yeah, dude. You guys are the witch was clocking in. She was doing work in this movie.
Yeah, the witch earned her paycheck.
Yeah, she was genuinely trying. I'll give her effort for trying. She had no chance.
The hardest anyone's ever worked for $17.
Ricky Seals-Jones, the best.
Buddy, wait till I play Ricky Pearsall this week.
It's in my best ball returns.
2018 Ricky Seals-Jones had 34 receptions for 343 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns the previous season, 4 after that. But yeah, didn't. The name sounded better than the stats. I thought he'd have a better career, to be honest. And looking at the stats, kind of disappointing. But there you go. Shout out to
we tried to make him have a better career.
Oh, we did.
We all probably definitely all played Ricky Seals-Jones at one point. We punted with Ricky Seals-Jones in the last 8 years or whatever it is, but probably didn't work out. Most likely did not work out.
I would love to. I wish there was a website that showed your history of guys you played in DFS.
You get the yearly thing, right? Like the Spotify, monthly. Yeah. I get something that says you love this player this week.
Yeah, right? Yeah. This was your highest player. I would love to just go back though and see you played Devin Achane the same time.
Who do you think would be the random person that you just played way too much of in the last 10 years?
In the last 10? Oh god.
Somebody's got to pop up that just we all completely forgot about their existence. Yeah,
who's the player that you would have played that DraftKings should have sent you a "Do you want to self-exclude" message?
For me, it's Kenny Walker. I have to stop.
Yeah. It's not DJ Moore.
He's going to change teams in the offseason, and everybody's going to talk him. Oh, DJ Moore in a great spot. There it is, 5th round pick.
That's me.
All right. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you? TJ, give the people the promos. You mentioned, well, I guess you could say whatever's going on at your site. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, Agents of Fandom on all the socials, wherever you get your podcasts, youtube.com. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming. We have weekly shows right now talking about Pluribus, Percy Jackson, when the Stranger Things show drops, and episode reviewing upcoming Avatar Fire and Ash, which is also exciting because we got some interviews coming for that one, and we're actually going to be talking to James Cameron next week. And so one of the biggest interviews we have ever had, pretty exciting stuff. And that'll be coming up on YouTube, the site, and podcast feeds next week.
Rob?
You can catch me in Nilbog, just chilling with the homies.
Drinking milk.
Drinking some curdled milk.
The 26 people in the town, everybody shows up at the town hall. They had more than 26 people there, I was pretty sure.
Oh, that scene, like, whoa, that's a lot to unpack in that town hall CTV. It's a lot going on.
We didn't even talk about that scene.
A lot going on in that.
Too much. Like Rob said, there's too much to talk about in this movie.
I tried to tell you guys you needed to cut the DFS down to 30 minutes for this and just give us 2 hours for Troll 2.
It's a fair point. Daigle?
TJ, I have caught up on Stranger Things.
Same.
I'm pot committed. I don't even know if I like it anymore, but I'm pot committed, so I have to finish it out. And I'm caught up on Pluribus.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, I slammed Pluribus. I caught all the way up. Very interesting show. That's a lot more fun if you don't know anything about it, like me, and just kind of walk in and binge it. So good stuff from Vince Gilligan. But
does it have to do with the arcade game?
No.
Okay.
Oh well, I don't know what the theme of the arcade game is.
Oh, you've never heard of the Pluribus arcade game?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we'll talk about that off
Did
air.
it come out in 1990 with Troll 2?
It may have never came out.
Like
we don't
Troll
know.
2 almost. Establishtorun.com. As I mentioned last week, the players to stream rankings are there. If you want to know who to stash ahead of week 16 and 17, so that's all anyone cares about if you have a first round playoff bye. So go there.
What defense do I need to hold, Daigle?
I have literally like 13 of them ranked that you can pick up off waiver wire. You're like me. You probably pick a defense, and that means you don't have to pick a defense in week 17 either. I just got to start. Like I got the Niners. I'm just going to start the Niners every single week. Don't care.
No, I was on Seahawks like all year, so I've just been.
Then you're good. Yeah, but because it's that time of the year, people are now worried about the Seahawks defense as well. It's like, no, don't worry. Just start them literally every week. Don't even think about it.
Rich, tell the people where they can find you.
SharpFootballAnalysis.com, writing up all the players, all the games. Check it out.
I was looking to see what team was. I was trying to buy time looking for the team to play in week 17 to start as the defense, and I don't know who. Everybody's probably taken at this point.
I mean, dude, it's week 15. Like, no one's going. If you haven't read any of my stuff, you're not going now. What do you always say, man?
Well, maybe you sold them. Ricky Seals. I remember. Okay, I'm gonna this guy going.
Dean,
thinking about watching Troll 2. Just spent an hour and 33 minutes reading one of Reeves' worksheets.
Dean,
I over again and over again.
I have a quote here. You know, I rarely do this. I have to pull this up though because you guys are amazing. So I did the Google AI to describe Rich Hribar as a writer.
Oh.
During the NFL season, writing a workload that sometimes compared to multiple books worth of words in a 6-month period.
Yep.
Wow. Not untrue.
All true.
You ask him about your Sharp Angles podcast with
Oh, no, I could try to fit that in too. Did you see my cowboy hat though?
Yes, I did. I had to go look it up. I listened, but I had to go look it up.
Start the Patriots defense in week 17 against the Jets. They're still available in 70% of leagues.
Daigle is also writing books worth of game by game analysis over there.
That's Silva's fault.
More pages, it seems like, as the season progresses.
It certainly seems that way.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's step aside. Let's get out of here. We gave people 2 hours and 22 minutes. Gave an hour and a half plus of NFL DFS content. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on notifications. Watch F1 and join the conversation next week. Hopefully, TJ and Rob never win again. as far as the movies. But at least, well, yeah, I don't know why TJ's getting shrapnel. Hopefully, Rob, we got to play some defense against Rob now.
You guys had fun.
It was fun. You know what?
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I flip flopped.
I didn't. The worst day of my life.
You not having
That's why Dean had fun.
The worst day of my entire life, and Dean just reveled in it.
Says a lot about me. That's Rich. That's John. That's Rob. That was TJ. I was Dean. Go win something this week. We're out of here. Out.